Using my Barclaycard Forward credit card to pay for the stuff I need now and paying back on time could help build up my credit score for the day I need something bigger. So buying weights for my workout. Smashed it. Or a set of headphones. Could help in the future when I buy my first car. Now that's forward thinking. Check if you're eligible at barclaycard.co.uk. 33.9% APR representative variable subject to application, financial circumstances and borrowing history. T's and C's apply. Responsible use of a credit card can help build your credit score when you pay on time.
Clyde One's Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lucas Volvo. Don't miss the Volvo New Car Sale event between the 6th and the 20th of March. Offering 0% APR and first 3 services for just $499. Book your place today. Follow the signs. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a huge day of SPFL action. Rangers head to Motherwell first up, looking to cut the gap at the top to 6 points. Of course, Celtic can then respond later when Hibs travel through to the east end of Glasgow. Aberdeen Hearts, Livy Ross County, Dundee United, St Mirren and Kelly St Johnstone make up a 6-game Saturday in the Scottish Premiership. What more could you want from a Saturday afternoon? What about the company of Gordon Dalziel, Roger Hannah and Hugh Keevins?
Well, the Premiership might have been discredited from as far away as Japan this week, but I have a feeling that from Motherwell to Aberdeen you won't be able to take your eyes off it this afternoon. Every game has meaning, every game carries consequences, starting with Rangers at Motherwell. There'll be no problem getting away fans into that particular ground, but what do the Rangers fans have to say about what is going on at their club this week? They normally do have something to say, Roger.
There's always something special about a 6-game Premiership Saturday, the lunchtime game, and it is a big lunchtime game both for Rangers and Motherwell, Gordon, because Rangers, they're coming in for a bit of stick from their own supporters. Even after the 3 successive wins off the back of the League Cup final defeat, they will expect a performance, they will expect a victory this afternoon. But it's big for Motherwell. I don't like telling you and Daz, you're not out the relegation fight yet.
Yeah, I think it's a big game for both. I think we've got a fantastic fixture list. Roger quite right said there's 6 games. Interesting, the team news as well. Looking forward to that from Andrew at Fir Park. So let's go on with it.
As Roger says, Hugh Keevins, how often in a season do we get all 6 games, all 12 teams playing on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Back in your day, as the phrase would go, it would have been commonplace. We're so used now to things being spread out. There is something nice about it all being kept on a Saturday afternoon.
And what I'd like to see coming out of this afternoon, Gordon, is a statement about the state of the Premiership. We know it is not as competitive as it might be, as we would want it to be. But I think Ange Postecoglou at Celtic Park has led the charge in favour of the Premiership. He just wants teams to be more aspirational and not listen to those who are saying it's the worst league in Europe. So the ball is in the court of 12 clubs today.
Let's go to Fir Park. Team news with Andrew McLean.
Yeah, I think there could be as many talking points off the pitch today as there will be on it. Of course, you look on it, Stuart Kettlewell unbeaten in his 4 games since taking charge. February's manager of the month, looking to pull even further away from bottom spot and that relegation playoff spot as well. However, they have a bit of unrest amongst their supporters with that aimed at the board. Fan group Block E, they're boycotting the first 15 minutes of this game after citing concerning decisions made by the Motherwell hierarchy recently. When we look at Rangers, Michael Beale's Premiership unbeaten record, that's now at 13. He knows that all they can really do is just keep on winning as they still trail Celtic by 9 points in the league. But there's also tension between their fans and the club as well. You'd expect some sort of protest here today after the Union Bears decided not to attend last weekend's win over Wraith Rovers after they were told they couldn't display an anti-police banner. If I actually look over to the away end, each seat had a card lodged in it as the fans made their way in, and it has the faces of Stuart Robertson and Ross Wilson, both the faces in a sort of red circle with a cross through it, and underneath the message "Time for Change." So there will be protests from both sets of supporters today, but hopefully we've actually got some good football to look forward to as well. As for team news, one change for Motherwell: John Abika drops out and Dean Cornelius comes in, so it'll be Liam Kelly starting in goal for the home side. The back 5, Mac Johnson, Paul McGinn, Callum Butcher, Dan Casey and James Furlong. The midfield three, Dean Cornelius, Callum Slattery and Sean Goss. It will be Blair Spittle supporting Kevin Van Veen up top. The substitutes, Oxborough, O'Donnell, Lamy, Mugabe, McKinstry, Blaney, Mandron, Tierney and Miller. As for Rangers, 2 changes for them. Borna Barisic drops out. I'm told he's back in Croatia as he's just about to become a dad. Nikola Raskin is also out as well with an injury. In come Ridvan Yilmaz and Ryan Jack. So Alan McGregor in goal for Michael Beale's side. The back four, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davies and Ridvan Yilmaz. Ryan Jack and John Lundstrom, the 2 holding midfielders, with Fashion Sakala, Todd Cantwell and Ryan Kent in behind Antonio Cholak. The substitutes, McLaughlin, Hadji, Suter, Kamara, Morelos, Wright, Arfield, Devine and Tillman. The referee here at Fir Park is Nick Walsh and the VAR is Andrew Dallas.
Right, let's try something rogue and actually start with what's happening on the pitch this afternoon. What jumps out from that Rangers team for you, Gordon?
I think everyone going along there will look at the left back position. Yilmaz, big game for him. He was brought in to replace Barisic. I know a lot of people thought that he should have, but I like Borna Barisic. You know, for him just now over celebrating the birth of a new baby coming with his wife, gives Yilmaz that chance to go and show the Rangers support and the manager what he's all about. Raskin obviously injured. It's a strong side, middle to front. That front three, Sakala, Cholak and Kent will be looking to get amongst the goals today.
I mean, to be fair, Roger, it's not that Yilmaz has been unable to dislodge Borna Barisic in a footballing sense. He's just been unavailable, like so many of the Rangers players this season. He's not featured. Oh, of course he featured last week against Wraith, but in the league it was 29th of October. You'll remember it, the game against Aberdeen where he lasted just 8 minutes. And we've not really seen him since.
He's had a difficult time. It was a serious hamstring injury. On top of that, he's been compared with Andy Halliday, and on top of that, Borna Barisic has been in decent form both before the injury and after the injury. So he's had a difficult initiation to Scottish football, and this is a big afternoon for Ridvan Yilmaz. If he can impress this afternoon, then you never know, he might get a run of games until the end of the season, and there are some big games for Rangers before the end of the season.
Well, the other thing about this game is it's 21 years since Motherwell last had a victory in the league over Rangers. We have got to exclude the famous Premiership playoff double-header, which Motherwell did win.
Do we?
Yeah, we have to.
Okay, if you say so.
But it would be a massive feather in the cap of Stuart Kettlewell were he to be the first Motherwell manager for 21 years to get a victory. However, you don't beat Rangers for 21 years for a reason, and it is they're too strong for you.
Even since that playoff, 12 unbeaten Rangers at Fir Park, and there's been a 6-1. Remember that Sakala hat-trick? There's been a 5-1 in among it. This stands as the biggest test for Stuart Kettlewell of his brief reign as manager. And with Scotland coming up, Liam Kelly's the first of the goalkeepers, uncapped goalkeepers, to get an audition in front of Steve Clarke. It'll be a big afternoon for him.
And there's the thing, Gordon. The stats are damning as far as Motherwell are concerned. Rangers don't find this a tough place to go. It's one of those cliches you always hear. People will circle fixtures. Oh, you know, that's a tough place to go. Well, it's not been for Rangers. And you add to that the fact that Rangers' best form has actually come on the road under Michael Beale. They've won them all, and it's been, well, not won them all, but that's where they've had their best results. Certainly, if you look at Tynecastle, Easter Road.
Yeah, I think most
they have won them all. Sorry, I'm second guessing myself. I'm forgetting where the Old Firm game was.
Most people will certainly fancy Rangers today. Of course they will, especially with the team and the squad that they've got. I think that a lot of teams like going to Fir Park now, mainly because the pitch is absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best pitches in Scotland, without a doubt. But you're coming up against a Motherwell team that's got a new lease of life under a new manager. He's tweaked one or two things, formation. He's starting to get the best out of players as well. I think Abika will be a loss today. I think he was starting to get a good partnership with Van Veen. He's back in amongst the goals. They're playing a confident Motherwell side. I think it'll be a difficult game. I still fancy Rangers strongly, but I think it'll be a difficult game.
It's an odd business that Michael Beale has in his hands. He's trying to keep up a Premiership title challenge because arithmetically Celtic aren't over the line yet. You can say that they are overwhelming favourites, and you'd be correct, but arithmetically it's not done yet. But he's doing everything in the face of protests from supporters. They absented themselves last weekend. They have now, as Andrew McLean explained to us, got their sights set on the CEO Stuart Robertson, and Director of Football, Ross Wilson. And in the middle is the manager trying to keep everything buoyant.
Yeah, and at a time when he's got 8 players who don't know whether they'll have a Rangers future beyond the end of the season. He's on the bench. He might come off the bench today. What a week Alfredo Morelos has had. Looking thoroughly miserable when he came on against Raith Rovers last weekend. The manager said after the game, no guarantees that he'll be getting a deal here. He then slightly had to go back on that midweek because he knows if anything's to happen to Antonio Cholak, he's going to need Alfredo Morelos in this run in.
Is that what you read into that? Because we spoke about it during the week. You know, there did seem to be a change in tone and word choice from Michael Beale from Sunday to Thursday, whenever it was, on the topic of Alfredo Morelos.
Very much so. I think he was speaking from the heart on Sunday. I don't see a Rangers future for Antonio Morelos. Sorry, for Alfredo Morelos at all. But I think Michael Beale realised probably after he had spoken on Sunday, I might need this guy between now and the end of the season. I don't doubt for a minute Michael Beale will have a new centre forward lined up for Rangers to come in the summer, along with Cholak, along with Kemar Roof, if they can get him fit after this surgery.
Good question, Roger. If he is called upon, do you think he's in the frame of mind that would see him throw himself into the challenge?
He's still been scoring, to be fair, though, hasn't he? Like, maybe not at the same rate, but that was the point that Michael Beale pointed out. The goals and assists, so the goal contributions as they're called, haven't dropped off.
Scored in the last
terribly.
game against Motherwell, didn't he? The game between Christmas and New Year at Ibrox, I think he scored. But I think it's telling that he got the chance when Beale first came into the team, and it wasn't very long before Beale went back to Antonio Cholak.
Is this a chance, Gordon, for someone like even John Lundstrom to maybe force his way back in? We are very fickle here, and the Rangers fans who call this show or tweet this show decided after the semi-final that was it. John Lundstrom was done, and it was now about seeing Nicholas Raskin and maybe even Ryan Jack would be the other best option in the deeper lying role, and then you've got Cantwell and Tillman. I'm sure John Lundstrom won't feel it's as simple as that.
I don't think he's had the best of seasons, Gordon. I've been a bit critical of him in the past. If you're asking me right now, out the squad Rangers got the strongest, say 2 sitting midfield players, Lundstrom would be third for me. I think Raskin and Jack are a perfect partnership, but it's up to him, because it wasn't that long ago that he was a fan's favourite, playing very well. He had good form about him. This is an opportunity, especially with Raskin being injured, so he's got to show it. He's got to stand up today and show what he's all about.
Did a winner at Fir Park earlier on in the season. It's maybe a venue he likes. It doesn't seem that long ago he was scoring goals in European semi-finals, but you're right, his star has fallen a little bit, and I tend to agree with Daz that Raskin and Jack for me would be the first pick if everyone's fit.
You look at the home record for Motherwell, Gordon. Until just a couple of weeks ago, it was one solitary league win at home. So they're now up to 3. That still isn't a good record. It still suggests that it's a venue that Michael Beale and Rangers should come and win at. But like I say, it's worth acknowledging that 2/3 of those wins have come under Stuart Kettlewell, have come recently, have looked a bit more solid.
Yeah, they're in a better place, Gordon. There's no doubt. And when you get a few victories, that builds into not just the following game, but during the week as well. As a professional, there's nothing better going in the Monday after a good result on a Saturday. Your week's brilliant. You're looking forward to the next game. They're in a good run of form. I think the formation changes certainly suited a lot of their players. They know what their jobs and responsibilities are, and if you can get Van Veen scoring the goals, you've got a threat.
Yeah, I was going to say, how key could he be, Hugh Keevins, because there's no Rangers player got more goals than Kevin Van Veen does this season, which might surprise you given the obvious differences between the teams in chance creation and where they are in the league and so on. He's got 13 in the league, same as Cholak. He's got 17 in all competitions, same as Cholak.
Yeah, he is central to what Motherwell will do between now and the end of the season. I look at Kilmarnock, for example. Kyle Lafferty would get you the goal every now and then. That would be so vital. Add a point here, a point there. Kyle Lafferty is gone, and Kilmarnock are toiling. They don't have a Kevin Van Veen, so he is crucial. And he will be the difference between Motherwell being involved in a playoff or even going down and surviving.
Can they get people round about him close enough to him, Roger? Is that the challenge? Because let's quickly remind ourselves of this journey that Motherwell have been on with managers. Graham Alexander achieved things for Motherwell last season. They qualified for Europe. They finished, well, obviously you know where they finished because they qualified for Europe, so that sort of speaks for itself. But there was complaints about the style of football. In comes Stevie Hamill, and the fans say, oh well, you can already see it's better, they're trying to play a bit more football. But it didn't get them anywhere. Stevie Hamill pays the price. Stuart Kettlewell comes back in, and they probably have gone a bit more direct again, and they've gone Obika and Van Veen, but there is no Obika today. How do they approach this?
And the constant through the three managers has been Van Veen. 17 goals this season. As you said, if it wasn't for Kevin Van Veen, Motherwell might be down already, because he has made the difference. I think he'll miss Obika today. They've looked good together under Stuart Kettlewell, and it's just going to be a case of who is going to get close. You know, I was a fan earlier in the season of Stuart McKinstry, back on loan from Leeds United, scored the goal, that cheeky free kick against Rangers at Fir Park earlier in the season. He's fallen out of contention as well. So for me, Blair Spittle will be the one who's asked to get close to Van Veen, but it's going to be a big shift for Van Veen up there this afternoon.
I've got to say, Roger, we're concentrating on Van Veen's goals today. It's not about, for me, and goals are important, of course. Van Veen needs to get Motherwell up the pitch today, because you'd expect Rangers will have most of the possession. When Motherwell get it, if they get the ball up front, Van Veen's got to make that ball stick, got to hold up. He's capable of doing that, and that allows your Spittles and Goss and people like that to get support. He's got a big role to play today if Motherwell's got to get in and out of the game.
You look at Rangers attacking options. We've just spent time talking about Alfredo Morelos, and he's not playing. That's sort of what Alfredo Morelos does to you. Fashion Sakala's become a real sort of mainstay under Michael Beale, hasn't he? You mentioned he's got a hat-trick at Fir Park in the past. How key can he be?
He has become a mainstay, and in a slightly different position than you would have expected. You know, people talk about this as a 4-2-3-1, but a lot of the time Sakala's pushed in very close to the centre forward, whether that's Cholak or Morelos. He's become a second striker. A second striker a lot of Rangers supporters have phoned this show demanding. It allows Cantwell or Tillman, if he was playing Cantwell today, to drift out a little bit in the right, and it's a very fluid front four that Motherwell will face this afternoon. But Sakala has done well. I still think that if he's given too long to think about a chance, he's liable to miss it. He's one of those players, but he's done better than I thought he might have done under Michael Beale.
I think today Motherwell need to be very careful. I watched Hibs with the same lineup, right, the three at the back, and Sakala absolutely murdered them down that left hand side. You know, Cadden was going up the pitch, he was trying to get forward, and Hibs were obviously playing with a lot of confidence that time at Easter Road and thought they could get at it, Rangers. And Sakala used that space down that left hand side brilliantly and caused all sorts of problems. Rangers should have scored a lot more on that day. I'm sure Kettlewell has watched that game and learned from it. So between the wing back and the right centre back, McGinn, they've got to be a bit of communication there.
There have been numerous times since Michael Beale took over, Hugh. It's just a quirk of the fixture list, I guess, and television selections. Rangers have regularly had the chance to cut the gap to 6, and they've always done it. And then Celtic have always responded. It has been 9 points since it's a long time now. Is that just the challenge again for Michael Beale and Rangers today? You just have to do it. You keep chipping away and hope that something gives.
Without question. And I think that sequence of events will repeat itself today. I think overall, people forget that Michael Beale is undefeated in the league since becoming Rangers manager. The fallout from the cup final defeat to Celtic was such that it overshadowed everything else. But he's undefeated, and he'll still be undefeated by 2:30 today, and Celtic will still be undefeated at home by 5 o'clock tonight. I just think that they are both overwhelming favourites.
Let's hear from Stuart Kettlewell and then Michael Beale.
No matter what happens when you play against the Rangers or a Celtic, it can't derail what happens in your season, and that's far from being defeated. We go into the game and we want to try and win the game, especially in front of our home fans. Nobody will expect us to win this game, nobody will expect us to get a point, but I just think it's so important that as a football club, between fans, players, staff, that we still have that connection and we still stay together no matter what.
Stuart's done really well since he's gone in there. They've had an up-pick. He was manager of the month. They didn't play last week, so they've had their eyes on us for a little while now. and we look forward to the game. Can we be a bit more ruthless in the boxes? We're certainly not struggling in terms of our output in the final third. Then it's just a matter of our quality, which is something that we're working on for sure.
Kick-off fast approaching. We go back to Fir Park after these. And now just a quick note from our podcast sponsor Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West. We are proud to announce that Lookers is now the new name for Taggarts. Taggarts has been part of the Lookers Motor Group for nearly 20 years, and over time, being part of one of the largest multi-franchise dealer groups in the UK and Ireland, has helped Taggarts to provide a great customer experience, value and choice to their customers across Scotland, and that's something that will never change. And now, they've decided though to change the name above the door to move forward as one. You'll find the same great service and friendly faces you've come to know at their Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms, working hard to give the best experience every time. You can now browse and shop online for your next car at lookers.co.uk and choose from thousands of used cars in stock with home delivery available. You can also discover the latest new car offers, book a test drive and book your next service online. Although the name has changed above the door, everything else is staying exactly the same, and you can still expect the same great service and friendly faces when you visit in store. Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West.
Compare cheap van insurance quotes that really do cut the mustard at mustard.co.uk. Details online, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Just a few minutes away from kick-off at Fir Park. Let's go back to Andrew McLean, get a recap of the teams, a flavour of the build-up, and maybe some insight into what's happening in the away and the home ends from the fans this afternoon, Andrew.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting afternoon. I'll get back to the protests in a second because it looks as if banners are being unfurled at the moment, so I'll let you know what they say when they are fully out. But when we look at the football, it's quite incredible. Hugh was talking about it. You have to go back to Boxing Day 2002 for the last time Motherwell beat Rangers in a league match. 45 matches between the sides have passed since then. Stuart Kettlewell will be hoping today is the day they can break that. However, Rangers league form has been excellent under Michael Beale. He was saying it before the game and he said that he's picked a strong attacking lineup. They've got 10 goals in their last 3 games as well, so they do seem to be clicking in an attacking sense. But Motherwell, they'll be in a positive mood themselves, just given that recent run under Stuart Kettlewell. It's 4 unbeaten for them. He was of course voted February manager of the month in the Premiership as well, so lots to look forward to for Motherwell in that perspective. If we have a look at the teams before they make their way out the tunnel, it is just one change for Motherwell. John Obika drops out of the squad altogether and it's Dean Cornelius that comes in. It's Liam Kelly in goal, the back 5, Max Johnson, Paul McGinn, Callum Butcher, Dan Casey and James Furlong. The midfield 3, Dean Cornelius, Callum Slattery and Sean Goss, with Blair Spittle supporting Kevin Van Veen. The substitutes: Oxborough, O'Donnell, Lammy, McGabby, McKinstry, Blaney, Mandron, Tierney and Miller. As for Rangers, it's 2 changes for them. Borna Barisic drops out, he's back in Croatia. He's just about to become a dad, and Nikola Raskin is out as well because he's injured. So it's Ridvan Yilmaz who comes in and Ryan Jack as well. Alan McGregor in goal for Rangers today. The back 4, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davies and Ridvan Yilmaz. It will be really a sort of 4-3-1-2 you'd say, with John Lundstrom, Ryan Jack and Todd Cantwell. The midfield 3, Ryan Kent in behind Fashion Sakala and Antonio Cholak. The substitutes: McLaughlin, Hadji, Suter, Kamara, Morelos, Wright, Arfield, Devine and Tillman. The referee for this one at Fir Park is Nick Walsh, and the VAR is Andrew Dallas. But as I touched on earlier, it is impossible to ignore that there is going to be protests from both sets of fans. I'll start with the home fans because I said earlier Block E is going to be empty in the home end for the opening 15 minutes of this match. Some supporters unhappy with some of what they've described concerning decisions made by the Motherwell board. There's actually a banner in that empty section at the moment that says "Heavy Hands, Empty Stands," and Rangers, their supporters have now got their protest underway as well. Every supporter is holding up an individual card that has the faces of Stuart Robertson, the managing director and the sporting director Ross Wilson on them, both those faces in a red circle with a cross through it, and underneath it says "Time for Change." There is a bigger banner as well, just being draped over the top tier, that says "Time for Change" as well, and has those same images of Stuart Robertson and Ross Wilson as well. So, you know, they're aiming those protests at the board. Fans have previously blamed the board for taking their eye off the ball. We saw that in a banner, I think it was against Kilmarnock a couple of weeks ago at Ibrox. And there's a lot of things Rangers fans haven't been happy about, whether it's recruitment, the Sydney Super Cup, even yesterday you look at the decision between Celtic and Rangers that there will be no away fans in the 2 remaining fixtures between Celtic and Rangers in the Premiership this season. Plenty of things they're unhappy about. It was added to last week when the Union Bears were told they weren't allowed to bring in an anti-police banner into Ibrox, so they decided not to attend the game against Wraith Rovers at all. They left an empty section. This is now their chance and the away support's chance to make their feelings towards the board known. But of course there is a game of football to be played. Hopefully it is going to be an exciting game of football as well. I was here for the last game the sides played at Fir Park. You might remember Malik Tillman scored that incredible goal where he picked the ball up at the halfway line and dribbled all the way through into the Motherwell box and scored. But Motherwell are in a much better place since that 2-1 defeat then, and they'll be hoping that under Stuart Kettlewell they can show a bit more fight and potentially get a result against Rangers. Both teams are out. The captains just shaking hands with referee Nick Walsh at the moment, and we are moments away from kick-off.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With Clyde Build Windows and Doors. Buy now, pay nothing till 2024.
Well, hopefully we've got a football game with plenty of talking points on our hands, but it's hard to ignore that, Hugh Keevins.
No.
If you are Stuart Robertson and Ross Wilson sitting in the main stand at Fir Park, you take a glance to your right and see thousands of Rangers fans holding up pictures of your face with the big red line through it and saying time for change. Going to be hard to ignore that.
And it will be Michael Beale's job after the game is over to offer a club response to what has taken place. I look at the faces of the Rangers players as they come out, and they're staring at this and wondering what is going on. So it's difficult. I don't know. You can't deny people the right to express themselves, but I don't know that it's helpful.
It's a remarkable display, just in sheer magnitude. You look at that away to the right at Fir Park, you look at the empty area where the Motherwell Ultras would normally be, and then you look at the teams coming out with the match officials. One of the linesmen looks absolutely bamboozled. He is the leader of the Scottish Conservative Party. He's in Motherwell and he's not the least popular man in the ground.
Yeah, and
poor Douglas Ross doesn't know what's happening.
We've maybe not seen the end of this, because I think there are a couple of rogue tennis balls that have been thrown on, which suggests that those people have maybe thrown their tennis ball prematurely, and that the rest are going to follow suit at some point in a certain minute of the game or whatever.
So what's the significance of tennis balls?
The ball's in your court, isn't it? Is that not what was it Dens Park it happened before? I seem to remember. That's kind of
obviously they don't want to throw golf balls, because Daz would head straight there to pick them up after the game.
A couple of Pro-Vs in the pocket, he'd be gone. You wouldn't see him for dust. But anyway, look, we'll deal with that stuff. The heat is on the Rangers board, quite clearly, or members of them. There is no doubt about that. But let's try and focus for a bit on this football match, because we'll get back to it.
The heat is on them just now. There are a lot of big games of football for Rangers between now and the end of the season, including 3 against Celtic. If those don't go the way the Rangers support wish them to go, then the heat will only increase on the Rangers board.
Oh, for sure. And the manager.
Are we getting some predictions here, boys?
Go on then, why not?
I'm going to go 3-1 Rangers.
I'm actually going to go 3-2 Rangers. I fancy a goal fest, Hugh.
Yeah, I think we'll get goals both sides. I'm going 2-1 away win.
There we are, a full house for Rangers then. Not a full house at Fir Park, certainly in that East Stand, because the Motherwell fans, some of them, have decided to stay away. Is it the first 10 minutes, first 15 minutes, I think?
15, Andrew said.
To make a bit of a statement, and then they will enter. They will hope their team is not trailing by then, as can often be the case on these types of afternoons.
It's quite a good idea. If you lose an early goal, you say,
we'll still bother.
On we go, we're home.
Incredible. Anyway, it'll be interesting to know what Stuart Robertson and Ross Wilson are feeling, because that can't be easy for anyone in a professional capacity. To see the numbers, Roger, I think would be, because look, Scottish football is divided on everything. Even individual fan bases are divided on everything. They don't agree. Take the ticket allocation's a perfect example. Last night, a quick look at my Twitter feed. Well, thousands of Rangers fans think it's a shambles, and thousands of Rangers fans think it's the right idea. but I didn't see too many of the away fans at Fir Park not holding those placards up. Is that because you feel pressured into it, or do you all believe it, or we'll never know?
Well, I'm sure we will know, because we'll be here at 5:15 tonight in the open line from the Rangers supporters, many of whom will have been at Fir Park this afternoon, about their views of Stuart Robertson, Ross Wilson, and the Rangers board in general. There is a feeling of discontent among the Rangers
here,
supporters.
just waiting to see if a flag goes up. We've got a goal at Fir Park.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's Motherwell 1, Rangers 0. Kevin Van Veen, of all people, we should have known it was going to be him who would score Motherwell's goal. Strokes the ball into the net from close range. You just wonder if the Rangers players felt that was offside. Are we going to get another look at it? Well, we obviously will have to for VAR. That looks off.
That looks
a
to me,
good bit off. It has to be said.
Connor Goldson is a few feet behind the rest of the Rangers back four. He may have got away with one here.
Yes, it's a really good goal from Motherwell.
Good play by Johnson.
That aside, Max Johnson touch, great ball across, Kevin Van Veen finish. The early suggestion looks to me like that'll be off.
I don't think there's much in that, Gordon.
I think that's off. Yeah. But
that's why I hesitated on the gold flash button. But I always say it, there are many times when you think it's going to be off and it's not, or vice versa.
I genuinely don't think there's much in
Roger?
that where Connor Goldson was positioned, in relation to the rest of the Rangers back four.
I would often trust Roger Hanna.
I would also say Max Johnson got away from Ridvan Yilmaz with a great degree of ease there.
Listen, Roger, I was about to agree with you, but if you look at Yilmaz, he's well
Roger,
off.
he's well beyond
off.
Look at the line on the pitch.
Golson's at my flat. You're talking about Yilmaz. I was about to do the same. But see, if you watch Yilmaz, he comes up and he gets the back four in the straight line. So you can't blame the full back's right. He's 100% right. That goal should be offside for me.
Well, we've not seen the line, so you can't say that, because it's
it
impossible
looks offside
to know.
Oh, it's not. Is it?
Goal stands. Motherwell 1, Rangers 0. What a start to that game, Hugh Keevins.
Well, I have to say, it looks like the wrong decision.
No, but it's offside. Remember, we've not seen the line, so you have to just accept
it.
But
anyway, it is a shocking start for Michael Beale and Rangers. We've barely stopped talking about the time for change banners and the discord among the Rangers fans, and they're now a goal down to add to the pressure.
A really good goal from Motherwell, Gordon, you have to say.
Right, we're talking about goals and Yilmaz and everything. Correct. It's a terrific, and I'll tell you what, I was watching as it was developing. Johnson was getting in, he had his head up. Van Veen makes a perfect movement. He goes away from the centre half. The ball's terrific for him, and he's got the easiest task of putting the ball in the back of the net. What a start from Rangers. Do you think the Motherwell fans that are standing outside will be desperate to get back in now?
And there you are, there is your lines. We paid lots of money for Hawkeye Hugh Keevins, and it's telling you that Max Johnson is onside. So there you are, we move on.
Yeah, and for those who say or believe that VAR is there to be used against one club, there is a big decision that has gone the way of Motherwell, and it seriously affects Rangers. So we wanted today to be memorable, and after 2 minutes it has already started to become so.
Goldson just didn't get up there. You made the point that Yilmaz was breaking his neck to get up with the rest of the back four. Goldson is just a yard behind the rest of them, and he's been caught out. It's enough because the ball's come over to Max Johnson. There's still plenty to do for Motherwell. Great ball by Johnson, who's in a terrific vein of form at the minute, and Van Veen in the middle. 18 for the season. He's going to keep Motherwell up single-handed.
Great spot from you, Roger, I must say.
You go back to the subject of Van Veen. His, on reflection, I don't believe Motherwell will go down or will be involved in a playoff, but when the time comes to do the sums and who's done what, Van Veen has been outstanding as a contributor.
Don't get me wrong, I understand, Gordon, there are Motherwell fans who go every week, pay their hard earned every week, travel the length and breadth of the country, and have felt that on numerous occasions he's maybe not given enough, or he's not done enough to the team. That would be fine, that's not wrong. But does there, I suppose, have to be an acceptance? The chances of Motherwell signing a guy who's bang at it in every aspect of his game every week, they're just not there in the food chain. If you can get a striker that has some perhaps lazy looking moments, has some off games, but has 18 goals by the 18th of March, you're going to have to probably take the rough with the smooth, aren't you?
You're spotting the money. If Van Veen was a striker that could do it week in, week out, he's not at Fir Park, and that's not been disrespectful to Motherwell. He's the kind of guy that he's got everything in his locker, Gordon. without a shadow of doubt. Sometimes he comes in for that little bit of criticism that he looks at not interested at the body language type, but he's a threat. He's got a good eye for goal, as he's shown. His return's good. I thought as a striker there, his movement makes it so easy for Johnson. His movement's brilliant, and he taps it in the back of it.
I have to say, Roger Hannah, Rangers have thrown a couple of really deep crosses in already. Liam Kelly's caught a couple. That one goes way out of play from James Tavernier. I saw a stat during the week that Rangers crossed the ball an awful lot, and actually the numbers haven't really dropped, believe it or not, since Michael Beale took over from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. Going to need to be a lot more effective than that.
Yeah, was it not? I think one of Van Bronckhorst's last games, Gordon, was not some ridiculous stat that they put the ball into the box 73 times or something like that in a game, which finished 1-1. So you can put the ball into the box as much as you like, but unless there's more quality on it than we've seen from Tavernier and Yilmaz so far,
Roger,
then it's an easy day for Liam Kelly.
Is this a day that you're talking about Liam Kelly wants a real busy day to show Steve Clarke he's the number one for his Scotland jersey?
Listen, he'll take
he
a quiet
wants
afternoon.
nothing to do at all. I think
a few saves, a few catches.
Angus Gunn is nailed on.
Oh, do you think so?
Oh, Stevie Clarke's made such a fuss about the whole thing.
Did you watch his performance the other night there?
I don't disagree with you. However, I think he's nailed on
Over Xander Clarke.
I think Stevie Clarke just wants to annex him as a Scotland player, and we'll see what happens thereafter. But I would think that it doesn't matter what Kelly or Clarke do. Gunn will be the goalkeeper against Cyprus.
Don't get me wrong. If you forced me, if you made me put my last pound to Cash for Kids, I'd agree that it would be Angus Gunn. But I didn't think it was so set in stone. What do you think?
I don't think Steve Clarke can allow it publicly to be so set in stone. I agree with the boys. I think Angus Gunn will play. I think Norwich away at Stoke this afternoon. Just hope he emerges unscathed. We don't have a broken finger and anything daft.
Jacob Brown lashes a hat-trick beyond Angus Gunn. Angus Gunn settles for a place in the bench, and Jacob Brown suddenly starts a game for Scotland. Is that what you're telling me?
I think Stevie Clarke's a bit of an elitist. He'd rather have players who play in England than Scotland. There are some that he can't avoid, like Callum McGregor, but I think he looks at the league or leagues down there, and you get a better chance if you're in England than in Scotland.
So he agrees with the Japanese manager, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that he is an elitist.
Anyway, back to the game at Fir Park for now. 10 minutes on the clock. Motherwell 1, Rangers 0. And you can rest easy, Gordon, because the Motherwell fans who are protesting actually didn't miss the goal, because they're in, but they're just sort of up the back and they're just waiting.
Right.
They're making their statement by leaving the section empty.
Right, got you.
Kind of gathered up the back of the stand and they witnessed the goal.
Well, that's good for them, because obviously they didn't think the goal would come so quickly. They thought they'd be under a bit of pressure early on, obviously against Rangers, but it's been a good start from Motherwell. I'm watching the pictures coming in, Gordon. The one thing I've noticed is there's a good shape about Motherwell at the back. You know, everybody, they've obviously been well drilled into this three at the back. The two wing backs getting back quickly, making it a five, making sure Rangers don't get the space to play through them. So far it's been positive from Motherwell.
Sometimes there's a temptation to dust off all the old cliches. Scored too early, Roger. I mean, it's great in one hand, it gives you something to hang on to, but also sort of this asks questions of Motherwell as well. What do you do here? Are you on the front foot to try and score again? Are you trying to protect a bit of what you've got?
Well, the three of us, I don't think are surprised Motherwell scored, because none of the three of us in the prediction said Rangers to keep a clean sheet. You've seen this a lot in the Michael Beale era, even just in the 3 months he's been. Rangers having to come from behind to get a victory. They've done it a few times before. Hibs, Aberdeen at Pittodrie obviously was a spectacular one, but this is nothing new. Usually they find a way. Usually they force the opposition back, and the sort of decision you're asking is taken out of Motherwell's hands. But so far they look as if they're conducting their business very well.
I understand what you're getting at, Gordon, but I think there's an upside to scoring that
absolutely
early.
Yeah, it has to be.
And it is that it rattled Rangers right away. And the ball from Tavernier that you spoke of, that was sent by a man who looked a bit rattled.
And I suppose if there is a glass half full, here come Rangers really for the first time. It's probably the first time they've been in the box in a meaningful way, and it's just going to go back out for a throw-in. If there's one team that's got experience of winning games after falling behind, it will be Rangers. They've made a habit of this earlier in the season.
I'm a bit surprised. They seem to be going with the early long ball. trying to go up there quickly and then pick up the seconds. Well,
nothing
Neil
worse.
can't he find the ball?
The ball is
surely they've got more than one ball.
The ball is trapped under.
This must be a new low. The Motherwell ball
floodlight.
boy is taller than the Rangers left back.
I think someone's getting a replacement ball on as we speak. The ball boy goes crawling. I hope he didn't crawl under that ladder. I think he might have at the side. And Scottish football, one of the great images of the day. I'm sure that will be Hugh.
Would you have done that in your day as a ball boy?
Funnily enough, right, because the stat is doing the rounds. What was the last time that Motherwell beat Rangers in a normal league fixture at Fir Park?
2002. Hugh
Boxing
Keevins
Day.
told us last night.
Boxing Day 2002.
James McFadden.
And I was indeed a ball boy at that game. I
Seriously,
swear, behind the goal that he scored the penalty in.
I just can't get that in my head. You were running about there. About
Why?
wee boy. I
It's so
don't
hard
know.
to believe
Well,
about
wee
it.
boy. I'll get
Well,
it.
was
I'll
it wee
get
boy?
My ball.
The
Did
clues
you,
are- the
did
clues
you
in
get a
the title.
tracksuit?
But hold on, right? I wasn't 33. You know,
I know. What age were you?
don't make me explain to you how the passage of time
I know.
works.
What age were you?
Well, how many years ago was it?
the
This,
clue-
this,
the clue-
this could be good.
The clue is in the title. Ball
So you're
boy.
about 10 or 11, weren't you? Going about that.
Anyway, I hope the manager of Japan wasn't watching that particular moment as we move on.
What end did you sit?
I used to mix it up. I actually got a weird, funnily enough, since talking about away allocations, I used to get a sort of weird kick about being in front of the away fan. So it was more fun, if you like, if you won a game. You could kind of jump up.
Last question. Do
But
you
that
get
day was
paid?
at the. No, of course you don't get paid.
Ah, wee pound or song for a shop.
Pie at half time.
Ah, that's okay. Well,
Back in for a pie at half time.
And you get into the game for nothing. That's big for an 11-year-old.
Did I get 11 correct? There you go.
Motherwell 1, Rangers 0. Enough about the ball boy diaries, I have to say. But that was a weird season, that, because I think they beat Celtic in the same season at home and finished bottom. Is that the same season? The old saved by the Falkirk Stadium.
Yeah, that might be right.
I think that might be right anyway.
James McFadden emerging, Stephen Pearson emerging, players like that.
And now James McFadden reduced to attending Westlife concerts in the week.
Was he?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. How do you know? Was it in the paper or something?
it was. Yeah,
I was going to say, you get all your information from there. I wondered why that had made the newspaper,
And,
but I won't criticise Rogers' industry too much.
No. The former manager was there as well. Stevie Hamill. They were both at Westlife.
Okay.
Were you there yourself?
No.
You three could actually be like the world's worst Westlife tribute. You're sitting on those black stools. It's almost like if Motherwell score again and it gets to the big chorus, you're all just going to stand up in unison.
Roger's thinking of a song. I can see it working in his head. He's
not.
going, I don't think flying without wings
doesn't
will
work.
go. Yeah, it doesn't work.
No, incredible. He's a man for the pun work.
I do want to go home.
Kevin Van Veen's just holding it up on the halfway
it's
line.
the job that Gordon Dale asked him to do. He's trying to muddle up the park here. They're 15 minutes in. They're a goal up. They're playing in a composed fashion. Rangers, other than Cantwell, who looks really bang at it, have yet to find their form.
See, if you're the Motherwell manager and you're looking at this fixture and you're thinking, nearly 16 minutes, my goalkeeper's not had anything to do, you'd be absolute. And we've scored the first goal. Terrific start. That's down to confidence. That's down to tweaking one or two things. You know, Stevie Hamill got the best out of Motherwell when they come in at the beginning, and it happens. New managers come in, they get that sort of a bounce. They get players playing in the right positions. They get a formation that suits them. Motherwell look at it today.
Yeah, a bit weak from Todd Cantwell. He was favourite all day to nip that past. Is it Callum Slattery in the middle of the pitch? But Slattery wins it and allows Motherwell to come forward. They are now back though in their back line, launching a diagonal up the pitch, and there you are. There's your block E full now. The Motherwell fans are in. They've made their point, and they've come in to take their seats and witness their team one up already. Hugh Keevins.
Yeah, now I assume they'll get behind the team 100% because I have no idea what heavy hands have done to them, but the empty stands are now full again. And this performance from Motherwell was one that you could not have got in the Stevie Hamill era.
Oh, it's a great jump from Max Johnson. He does have the height advantage on Ridvan Yilmaz, who, to be fair, does recover when the second ball bounces down.
Doesn't look comfortable, Yilmaz, I'd have to say.
And the Rangers manager, the camera panned over to him there, looks stern-faced, to say the least. They are not playing well. They have not reacted at all to the loss of that early Kevin Van Veen goal, and much better is required of them.
Yeah, Motherwell just trying to work it down the line and settle for another throw-in down there in that corner in front of the Rangers fans where they scored the opening goal.
Max Johnson's emerged as a real player for Motherwell this season. You know, at the start of the season, everyone thought the right back fight would be between Stephen O'Donnell and Paul McGinn. And this young lad has come back from his latest loan spell. Was he at Cove this season, Queen of the South last season with his father? He looks as if he's going to be a real handy player for Motherwell in years to come.
And the latest young Scot to be linked with a move to Italy.
Bologna. Bologna, who have come and get Aaron Hickey, they've come and get Lewis Ferguson, they've watched Josh Doig do well at Hellas Verona. Not surprising, they'll have scouts regularly watching the Scottish Premiership.
I'm just a bit surprised with Rangers just now. A lot of long early balls, and it's not causing Motherwell any problems at all. I'm watching the work rate of Motherwell players there. They lose the ball down the corner and they are sprinting back into their positions, and that makes it difficult for Rangers. But if I was Michael Beale, you've got some talented players in the middle of the park, especially on a pitch like that. That pitch is absolutely brilliant. I would be encouraging to play balls through Motherwell instead of long balls, which suits them.
Rangers passing has not clicked at all yet, Roger, has it? I mean, they've had all the ball, which so it might and here we are in the box, maybe building something. Ryan Kent over on the right hand side. I'll hold that thought.
But as Dan says, very quickly Motherwell have numbers back behind the ball. There's a real work ethic about Stuart Kettlewell's team. You know, they're very disciplined. They're back, you know, it's a 3-5-1-1 if you like, with Spittle trying to get close to Van Veen. Very quickly becomes a 5 at the back when they're out of possession, and they're working hard.
I'll tell you what the instructions certainly been, Roger, is
that's a good move from Rangers though. Good block, it was cut back. Cholak just hung out while everyone else went in for the cross.
Yeah, good defending.
He choked his shot a little bit and it was blocked well before it got to Liam Kelly.
Yeah, better from Rangers, encouraging, but good defending. I think what the plan basically is, the minute we lose the ball, Motherwell, get into your positions and make it. They've been working in this, there's no doubt. You can see that's a training exercise.
Rangers with 75% possession, Roger, but there's still something about the passing that just doesn't seem like it's clicking. If that the first yellow card of the game goes to Dan Casey, left too much on Antonio Cholak for the referee's liking.
I'm not going to propose a substitution after 20 minutes because that's Hugh's job. But you wonder about Malik Tillman and the Rangers bench. He's scored in both games against Motherwell this season, and when the passing is sloppy and sluggish, as it quite clearly is, Gordon, he might just be the type of player later in the game who could influence it.
Look at his goal here earlier in the season.
Didn't
need to worry about passing, just picked it up in his own half and ran the full way to score.
Roger, at my age 20 minutes is a lifetime.
You've usually got that out after 10.
Rangers have been much better from attacking set pieces under Michael Beale. They've scored a good few, and Tavernier's going to whip this free kick in. It's quite high, but it does come through to Goldson at the back post. He of course scored from one last week. That has to be
that's not a free kick.
No. Goldson went down far too easy, and the referee saw right through it. Fair play, because players do that one, don't they?
Good referee.
They're running towards the corner flag. They know someone's behind them, so they take a tumble, and usually they get it. But to be fair to Nick Walsh,
he assumed he'd got it, and then had to rejoin the game.
I'm going to say terrific refereeing. They don't get enough credit in this country. Good refereeing, well done, Nick.
I actually think generally that's a bit of a bugbear of mine. I think refs need to be stronger in those situations, because the attacking player always does that. Feels a defender behind them. Where's a risky tackle on the edge of the box.
And I'll tell you something, that might be a penalty kick.
No,
incredibly,
that might be a penalty
kick. You
kick.
get some eyesight, Roger.
I'm.
Are you going penalty?
Callum Slattery, I think, is the most booked player in the league, or he's certainly one of them, and goodness knows what he's thinking.
No chance.
No, you're right.
It's
just outside.
Yeah.
Just the way they actually both players slipped into the penalty box at the end of the challenge.
But surely, Roger, it's reckless on the part of Slattery,
and that's why he's gone into the book. It's an 11th booking of the season. Talk about a tackle you just don't need to go into like that, Gordon. What's he thinking?
I've no idea. He runs a risk of nearly a penalty kick. He runs the risk now of giving Tavernier that angle, and it's on a brilliant angle for him, because he can go far post or near post. Kelly will probably be tested here. It's rash, Gordon, there's no need to do it and put your team into a position where you could probably come really under pressure.
A very similar position in the pitch to the one he scored at Livingston 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was there for Super Scoreboard, and he just sort of, he gave the goalie the eyes, if you like. I think Shamal George thought it was going far post. He whipped it over the wall into the near post.
Yeah, you're right. It's a very similar situation. James Tavernier, scorer of many goals for Rangers. Ryan Kent's there, but it would be highly unlikely that he would take any part in this other than
he must go
some
near
sort
post
of
here.
decoy run.
Near post. I'd fancy this myself.
You happy with that wall, Dazzler?
Not goal.
Goal flashes
Goalie.
with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Motherwell 1, Rangers 1. It's a free kick from James Tavernier. So reliable. And if we said this was an addition for Liam Kelly's Scotland appearance next week, I'm not sure it's gone to plan, Roger Hannah.
You can always tell, Gordon, when the camera goes straight to the goalkeeper after a goal is scored, you know there's a degree of blame. The goalkeeper, he has put it over the wall. It's not Liam Kelly's side, but it's one of those, if you can describe it, it looks as if he's got there and he doesn't keep it out.
Or double indemnity. You've got Slattery for giving the foul away in the first place, and Kelly making sure that Angus Gunn will be the goalkeeper in the next international.
Oh, it's bad all round, Gordon Dalziel. I mean,
two things to this.
23 minutes gone, Motherwell are good for their lead, and you then go and concede in that regard.
The manager will be so upset at Slattery getting into that tackle, right? So the minute that's done, you've got to organise. The wall, don't jump.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure, you can excuse Sean Goss. Sean Goss jumps, three others stand in the ground.
The goalkeeper is shocking. Absolutely shocking. But take nothing away from Tavernier. It's not his business. He hits the target, he gets his rewards, he gets Rangers back in the game. But from a Motherwell point of view, terrible.
And you wonder as well, Gordon, we're discussing where in the pitch the free kick was going to be taken. The fact that James Tavernier's last free kick in that area went over the wall, went to the near post. If we know this, surely Liam Kelly and the Motherwell wall know this.
I think he does, Rod. I think it's just bad goalkeeping. But we credit Motherwell for it. Tavernier can only do one thing: get it over the wall, test the goalkeeper and say, right, go on then, save that. He asked the question, goalkeeper couldn't respond. So all credit to the Rangers captain. Another goal, another free kick.
Well, Motherwell have successfully undone 20 minutes of very good work, and now it's Rangers who look on the front foot. They know they haven't started the game well. Michael Beale knows they haven't started the game well, but they've been allowed back into it and then some by two Motherwell players.
Poor cross from Ridvan Yilmaz over the bar. He has his head in his hands. He's not happy with it.
No, should he be?
To be fair, it was good play. He set it up well. You've got to be doing better if you've got that sort of a space. We're watching this free kick again. The Motherwell wall is, yes, Goss does jump a little bit. The rest just stand there. Tavernier, he's brilliant at this sort of angle, and he gets it on target. But come on, they're lucky with the fact that the goalkeeper is so bad.
And edging towards 100 goals. Was that 96, 97 now? Something like that for Rangers. An incredible. I know a lot are penalties, but for a right back of any team to score 100 goals, it's an incredible achievement.
I think that is, if you're standing that dugout as a manager, you give that free kick away, you're thinking we're now giving one of the best in the business an opportunity to undo all their good work, and he accepted that opportunity. Tavernier is absolutely brilliant from those distance. Goalkeepers try and give themselves a little bit extra, because the difference there was he could have went far post, he could have went near post. Goalkeeper's got a big problem because he's got quality, and you can't take anything away from Tavernier. But as I keep going back to it, if you're Motherwell, your goalkeeper, you're looking to try and get a number one jersey in Scotland, I ain't going to do you any favours.
I think particularly, Roger, when it's a game that Motherwell would have felt really comfortable in.
Motherwell were really comfortable.
They're not comfortable at all.
They were really comfortable in the game. We thought, as Dan said, they looked very comfortable in their system. But there was just a couple of moments of indiscipline. There was that foul on the far side, the first booking. Was it Casey, the first booking? And then the Slattery tackle, it was unnecessary. It was just a little rush of blood to the head, and it's carried a very heavy cost, because not only are Rangers level, but it looks as if it's just giving Rangers that little lift.
Yeah, and here they come forward with Cantwell down that right hand side. He just tries to get involved, but it's a poor ball in from him, and this is where Motherwell are struggling to get out, because they then look to launch Spittle over the top, but it's a terrible pass from Sean Goss.
But the goal puts Motherwell in the back foot as well. You look at Motherwell up until that free kick, they were confident, they were going up the pitch, they were looking good, they were denying Rangers space. Rangers get that goal, and all of a sudden they go a little bit deeper, they're giving the ball a bit cheaply, Rangers start probing the passes. All of a sudden you could find yourself behind shortly.
But big moments are so important, Hugh, isn't it? Because there's an entirely plausible scenario here where Rangers kick on and win this by a few, and then people say, what's the fuss all about? What difference is that? Was that one goal going to make? But it is that first one can totally change the flow of the game thereafter.
Yeah, and it has done so far. And what must be particularly galling for Stuart Kettlewell, the manager, is that it is as a result of self-harm. They have inflicted wounds on themselves. The foul by Slattery is just nonsensical, and the goalkeeper very poor in his response to Tavernier's free kick. And Stevie Clark mentally has already ruled out Liam Kelly, so it's now Angus Gunn or Xander Clark.
It doesn't even go in the corner. It's not even close to the corner. The only thing though, right, because it's never only just one, but Rangers crossing has been
atrocious,
awful in this early stages of the game. There's another one that's about 3 or 4 right out the park. From this one, was it Fashion Sakala that time? I
don't think Rangers have played particularly well in the opening 28-29 minutes. If I'm honest with you, I think there've been a lot of long balls. As you quite rightly said, the balls from the wide areas have not been up to the usual standards. They've been very, very poor. But I'm not taking any credit away for Tavernier, because I love goals. I like people that take the opportunity. He hits the target, he makes a goalkeeper to say, right, okay, go and save it. Didn't save it. But a negative for Motherwell in the 29 minutes is Liam Kelly, because of that mistake as a goalkeeper, it gets highlighted. An outfield player, we're not talking about Slattery's tackle, for instance. Slattery puts him really under pressure. He doesn't need to make that tackle.
Yeah, I'm watching it back because the ball doesn't jump, which really doesn't help Roger, but it does look like it goes over Sean Goss, who's the only one who jumps. So I'm not sure
I feel like
jump from the wall makes a difference.
Taking away a little bit from the quality of Tavernier's set piece. It's an excellent goal. I like the one he scored at Livingston. It is a good goal.
But here's the thing.
There are contributory factors from a Motherwell point of view.
He has to execute it, but I think you're doing him a disservice comparing that to Livy. Livy's is a proper top finish and ends up right in the corner. That one's not the same.
But listen, it still counts in the score sheet. It's brought it back to 1-1.
Move the goalposts.
Motherwell might well live to regret that moment as the turning point in this fixture.
Roger, it's simple. See, if your Rangers is a brilliant free kick, see if your Motherwell, you are really disappointed with Slattery. I think your wall must do better, and I think your goalkeeper's position's terrible.
I think you look at Slattery, Roger, that's 11 bookings for the season. You see the tackle, it's not necessarily hard to see why, but he's not what you would really consider an enforcer, a guy who properly goes around. So if someone like that type of player can end up with 11 bookings, which is 3 more than anyone else in the league, by the way, probably tells you there's a bit of a weakness there.
Yeah, and it's going to lead to suspensions. I was actually going to say that. It doesn't strike you as a good old-fashioned hard man in the middle of the park.
No,
it's just erratic decision making, like the foul on Lundstrom. He's picked up a booking, and in a game like this, Gordon, he's probably put himself in a bit of an edge. He has been sent off for picking up a couple of bookings in the past in a Motherwell jersey. He's had a little bit of a renaissance under Stuart Kettlewell, but that kind of thing can very quickly peter out if you're sat in the stand suspended.
He'd started the game well, actually.
It's the lack of composure that separates bang average players from proper players, and it was just a totally unnecessary lunge.
That's what will frustrate Stuart Kettlewell, because it's probably the type of tackle that, see, even if he gets the ball, there's still quite a high chance that's a free kick.
It's a tackle he doesn't need to make. He's got enough bodies there. Okay, Lundstrom's in a good position, but he's still got a lot to do to even get near Kelly. But the minute he makes that, Tavernier's eyes must have lit up. Look at the position, look at the angle. I have got a terrific chance of getting my team back in, and he achieved that.
And
It was a good
what will annoy Stuart Kettlewell is Rangers aren't playing well.
No.
You know, Rangers didn't threaten to cut Motherwell open with slick passing movement. You know, Motherwell have given Rangers this chance to equalise, and James Tavernier's taken it.
What is the official count? Because I've now checked one source which says James Tavernier's on 96 and another that said 98.
I actually checked myself. I think, according to the
You're gonna
stats
go
I
in the middle?
saw, no, this is 98th,
Right, I think it is.
along with 113 assists. It's not bad.
Looks like the most reliable of those sources. But yep, he's going to close in on that 100. Well, he is closing in on that 100, that's for sure. Might even get closer this afternoon.
Maybe at Celtic Park in front of no Rangers fans.
Yeah, that would be popular, I'm sure.
Let's not go there.
Hugh, and as you know, I am not a regular in this studio on a Saturday, and I feel it's my obligation to let the listeners know some of the things that go on in this studio.
Yeah.
Now, Gordon Dalziel has watched me make a cup of coffee today using what might be described as the council coffee. I have just discovered that not only does he have a man,
Big miss.
I was going to say,
Sakala.
not only does he have a man who makes his coffee, he has directed the man to his stash of the good coffee.
Yeah.
It was very quiet about while I was making mine.
You're joking me. That is shameless.
I hide my coffee. £6 a tin, Gordon. That's a lot of candy in Motherwell. Let me tell you now.
There's no way you
Roger-
pay £6 for your coffee.
No, I'll wait till
you'll
he's
get a deal on that.
I'll wait till he's doing me
Exactly.
3.
Exactly.
I didn't hear the Chancellor on budget day say that's a lot of candy.
In Motherwell, Hugh, when times are hard.
I think, in fairness to Sakala, the ball did not come to him in an easy manner to convert that chance that came
Funny you
his way.
talk about the Chancellor, because when I saw this, I was thinking Jeremy Hunt at the time.
Steady. Yeah, there was a shot from Lundstrom, edge of the box, straight at Liam Kelly. So when he parries it out, I think that's going to be a Motherwell throw now. It comes to Sakala. Maybe a bit of both, Gordon. Hugh's right, it comes at him fast.
Yeah.
But an experienced, an agile goal getter like yourself might have managed to.
I think that you're looking to do a little bit better, but it's worrying times for Motherwell because they've not really offered anything since Rangers scored. Ryan Jack's starting to influence the game a little bit. The Motherwell looking for a free kick there, but obviously waved away. They just need to settle back down. They were playing with good confidence, and I think they get knocked for 6 there with that free kick from Tavernier. So they're still in this game. It's finally evenly balanced, but they need to start getting up the pitch, and here they come.
They're gathering themselves again. They were right out of it after Tavernier scored, but they've got their second wind and they're coming back at Rangers now.
Motherwell have sort of steadied a little bit, if you can say that. Maybe they were better when the fans in the corner stayed away from their seats.
They're bad luck.
This is not great from Rangers though. Motherwell on the edge of the box, but Slattery can't keep it alive, and now this is where they're perhaps
3v3, Gordon.
But it's a good interception, really good interception. Was it Callum Butcher?
It was Callum Butcher. It's been a good addition
Yeah,
coming
he has,
in here in January. You thought some of Motherwell's recruitment in January looked a little bit higgledy-piggledy, to say the least, but Butcher is the one. I think he was the last signing. He's come in into the middle of that back three and looks very composed.
Can we just clear something up with regards to this offside? Right. Now, we've done this before on this show many times. I can see tweets coming in with stills of the goal that Motherwell scored going, see, you can see that this is offside. And I said it as well because it can give you a clue when you say the line in the grass or whatever. VAR is very expensive. Hawkeye is very expensive. The lines are calibrated before the game, and the line goes then straight across, and it then tells you if it's offside or onside. That is going to be straighter than the line that the Fir Park groundsman cut with his lawnmower, right? That's worth bearing in mind. So to everyone out there on Twitter who's got this screenshot and saying, look, that's offside, you can tell by the grass. The VAR line that costs hundreds of thousands of pounds for that technology, it's going to be straighter than Gordon Dalziel's lawnmower. That's all you need to remember here before we drive ourselves round the bend with this stuff, Hugh Keevins.
Unfortunately, you are wasting your time and your breath.
Seriously?
Because you are correct, but people don't like people who are correct, and they will argue about this all day long. However, the score remains 1-1, and we've got a pretty even game in our hands again.
Just going back to the Ryan Kent situation there quickly, Gordon. It was a 3v3. I think he picked the wrong decision. I think he's got to either go at Butcher. rather than try and play Cholak in and commit him, and then Motherwell have got a problem. But great defending from Butcher.
Cholak's been quiet. Be interesting to see a sort of heat map round about Antonio Cholak in the first half. I don't remember too many touches for the Rangers centre forward.
Imagine heat maps were around when you were a player.
Oh, I would be embarrassed. But look, had a nice career, lots of goals, lots of match balls, lots of B&Q vouchers,
Lots of weddings.
You try to say the only reason that people married me was because I played football. I think you've got a point.
I rest my case.
I think you've got a point. The minute it's funny, the minute I stop playing, I get divorces.
38 now, nearly on the clock. Motherwell 1, Rangers 1.
If you're Michael Beale, you're not entirely thrilled by it all.
No.
There is much better required. They've been largely a disappointment. Motherwell have sent them a gold embossed invitation back into the game, a game they were not truly part of until Motherwell insisted that they have a free kick, and the goalkeeper insisted they put it down to his right hand side. They miss it.
You also can't get carried away because Alan McGregor's had absolutely nothing to do. Gordon Duncan. Motherwell score early and it puts a positive spin on it, and they looked comfortable defensively because Rangers hadn't probed too much. But Motherwell scored inside, was it 2 minutes?
Yeah, early doors anyway.
They've offered absolutely nothing since then in an attacking sense.
No, but you look at Rangers as well. They've had one chance after a free kick. Sakala may do better. I'm just watching closely Yilmaz. He looks very neat and tidy on the ball. Nice passing. You can argue about the Rangers line for the first goal, but so far I think he's settled nicely into the left back position. Not being tested defensively 1v1, but every time he gets the ball, he looks like he's got a lovely left foot.
I think the Rangers could do,
apart from the one that he crossed into the pie stall at the David Cooper stand, of course.
Yeah, apart from that one,
I think the Rangers could do with Yilmaz performing well between now and the end of the season, because A, they paid an awful lot of money for him, and B, Borna Barisic is entering the last year of his contract and he's the wrong side of 30. I can't see Barisic getting another deal. Be interesting to see whether they try and get some money for Barisic this summer or they allow his contract to run down next summer. Either way, I think Rangers will need Yilmaz to emerge as the long-term answer at left back.
Surely on the back of all this discussion about Kent and Morelos, I'm not suggesting Barisic is potentially as much of an asset as them. Surely you just try and get a couple of million and move on.
Yes, but and I think if Yilmaz can establish himself in the last 9 or 10 games of the season, I have a feeling they will do that.
But if he can't, then you might feel you need to keep him around.
100%.
Fair enough. Rangers tried to thread that one, but it's not great. It goes all the way through to Liam Kelly from John Lundstrom.
Now the fans behind Alan McGregor's goal will be assessing those who were brought to the club by Ross Wilson, because that has been the jumping off point. The card protest against Ross Wilson and Stuart Robertson. So those fans are looking at the players brought to the club by Ross Wilson and assessing whether he's to blame for a decline in standards.
At neat turn, Ryan Kent, the pass was asking a lot of Sakala, but Butcher couldn't quite let it go out, had to just make sure. So Rangers have a throw in about level with the Motherwell box, which they take quickly.
For me, I've not seen enough of the Rangers front three. Sakala, Kent, Cholak, you mentioned Roger being anonymous for 40 minutes, but strikers will always just hope for that one quality ball in the box that he can go on end and score a goal, because he's good at that. He's very good at that. But so far, I think Motherwell have marshalled the danger front three very, very well.
Ryan Kent's an enigma, isn't he? I mean, anytime you hear Michael Beale or you hear Rangers supporters phoning this show, Gordon, most of them want Ryan Kent to get a new deal. They feel Ryan Kent can, light up games of football. This is another one where he's been very quiet.
Is there still a feeling that Motherwell would need to do more though, Gordon? Can you do this for another 50 plus minutes and get a draw?
Well, the difference is since they went 1-1, I think Motherwell have retreated more and more and more. They looked like they could get up the park when they were 1-1-0. They looked a bit confident. Just now, I think they're thinking get in at half time, one each. I think that's a dangerous game plan. I really do. This is a chance. Get up the pitch and try and get take a bit of
offside this time.
miles
I think
off.
the flag would go up late anyway, as they're instructed to do. And
just
I think
try and take a bit
will.
of pressure off the back men, because Rangers are probing away at you.
Do you know what? That flag did not go up, which means
really
Kevin Van
Van
Veen's
Veen.
poor touch has cost him being through 1-on-1 with Alan McGregor, unless I've missed it. But the flag didn't. Oh, it did go up. Andrew McLean says it did, but Nick Walsh just didn't stop play. So there we go.
Great left foot, but I'm not too sure about the right. Yilmaz there, just cutting in, decided to have a pop at goals on the right thing. We were just seeing this replay again. Oh, he's a mile off, surely, is he?
No, he's not.
Yeah.
Look at Ben. Is that Ben Davies?
Ben Davies, yeah.
Oh no, he's onside.
But the grass, the line
That's
of grass
true, that's
is
true.
yeah, it's nice.
It did.
Straight as a die.
Anyway, he did touch like an elephant, and that's why nothing came of it.
Yeah, well, we were just criticising Motherwell for not getting up the pitch, and then they did, and it was a heavy touch. But they've certainly got to do that more, Roger. You just, even if Rangers aren't at their fluent best, even if they're not getting as much out of the front three as they could, you just can't really allow them to have as much territory and possession for another, like I say, 50 plus minutes.
What it does illustrate, Gordon, is there can be joy in this game yet for Kevin Van Veen and for Motherwell. You know, you were right saying Alan McGregor's had very little to do, but Van Veen's been up the pot twice. He's scored one goal, and but for a clumsy touch would have been through with a chance of a second goal.
Yeah, I mean, the flag went up. Had it gone in, they would have checked it anyway. So who knows? Let's not get too carried away. Ryan Jack, it's a good run from him, skipping away from a few. And Todd Cantwell, I think most of those attacking players Rangers would be looking to see more from today. Still time though.
Well, Motherwell would surely hope, having sold the goal that Rangers got, they would surely hope that they can survive until half time at 1-1. At least that would be some form of consolation. But if they lose one before half time, they've lost the game.
Oh, yeah, I think the Motherwell manager will be desperate for that clock to run down. Get them in, regroup, talk about the positives, and obviously try and tweak one or two things as they try.
Surely they're going to be a booking. Ryan Jack was pulling back Paul McGinn as he ran away from him.
All because of a terrible touch again by Fashion Sakala, who's not having a good afternoon at all up front.
Still get that from Sakala, don't you? I said before the game he's become such a mainstay, but you still get moments where a simple pass and he miscontrols it, falls over.
There's been a couple of clumsy touches, a couple of lazy touches, a dreadful cross that flew into the Motherwell fans behind the goal. He's one of a number of Rangers players that Michael Beale might want to remind at half time that they can do better.
Oh, it's brilliant from Max Johnson, or I thought it was anyway. The touch ended up being heavy. Just like the goal though, he is getting in behind Yilmaz a bit with that ball over the top.
Great run. I agree with Roger. He looks very good, this young kid. But
would you be worried about the way Yilmaz is allowing that over his head?
Yes, I would. I've not really seen him defensively, Gordon. I've seen him going forward. He looks a kind of player that likes to get in the final third and probe his left foot. But defensively, I've not really seen much of him.
Yellow cards are
that would worry me
quite regularly now. Is Van Veen the latest, or is this just going to be a talking to?
I think it's maybe just a talking to.
Yeah, he slides slightly from behind on Ben Davies. Does he get a little bit of the ball? Certainly gets more of Ben Davies. It's just a final warning for Kevin Van Veen.
A striker's challenge. Antonio Cholak had won a couple of minutes ago and got a warning as well, no yellow card. So I think that's probably
different rules for strikers, is it?
You know what I mean.
No, I think that he didn't make a tackle in his life, so it's hard for him to comment.
That wasn't my job. My job was scoring goals. The rest of the guys that didn't have my ability, they slid in.
Scoring goals and hiding coffee, two of his great qualities in life.
Is it? No, I think it was an offside or it was either foul or an offside.
Still
certainly
1 minute of time added
Rangers
on
looked
to
to
play.
put a
You're looking at that
box.
middle to front for Rangers. I don't see that sharpness, energy, the movement. You know, I'm looking at Cantwell, who's not been involved. Lundstrom, Sakala's touches have been poor. Cholak we've never seen. Kent one or twice. But
how quick does Michael Beale go to the bench?
I think he'll come out with the same starting 11.
How fit is Malik Tillman? Is that a question that might answer your question?
Yeah, if he's only fit for 20 minutes, then he certainly won't be coming on at half time.
I've never understood that. Fit for 20 minutes.
By the way, that's the thing. He might be fully fit. I'm just asking.
Yeah, footballers fit for 20 minutes.
There certainly are options there. You know, Morelos we discussed before the game kicked off.
Oh, that's better
There's
from Rangers.
Hadji.
That's really nice. It goes into Cholak, one touch stuff. This is the Rangers attacking fluidity that we've not seen at all. Sakala probably forces a shot when he didn't need to, and it goes away for a corner.
Wrong decision, Hugh.
Yeah, but that corner kick provides the one chance now that Rangers have before the whistle goes to forget about a fairly lacklustre first half and try and get their noses in front.
That was the first bit of sharpness I've seen Rangers middle to front, couple of passes causing Motherwell problems. Let's see what develops here.
Yeah, Tavernier's ball's deep and it's over the top, sneaking round at the back post was Connor Goldson. It was always a bit of an ask for him to direct it on target, but maybe goes down as that's a decent enough chance, Gordon.
He loses, is it Van Veen it's on him? I'm not too sure, but he loses a defender. The centre forward gets caught as we
half time at Fir Park. Andrew McLean.
Motherwell 1, Rangers 1. The half-time score here. Kevin Van Veen's early opener cancelled out by James Tavernier's free kick. But what a start it was for Motherwell. The ball clipped over Ridvan Yilmaz out on the right. Max Johnson ran onto it. His ball across the face of goal was good, and there was Kevin Van Veen to tap in. There was big claims from the Rangers defence for offside. It looked close, it was looked at, but Max Johnson was onside in the build-up and the goal stood. It was a slow response from Rangers really, who were over-hitting crosses, not really creating anything, but a rash challenge from Callum Slattery on the edge of the box gave Rangers a free kick. A good chance for them. James Tavernier stepping up, curled it over the wall and past Liam Kelly. It was a good free kick, but the goalkeeper will probably feel he could have done better, but at that it was 1-1, but barely any chances after that whatsoever. John Lundstrom did have a strike from the edge of the box. It was straight at Liam Kelly. It was powerful, so he had to beat it away. It bounced out awkwardly towards Fashion Sakala. He could only redirect that rebound wide, and then there was a chance just before the half-time whistle there. James Tavernier's free kick dropping in at the back post. Connor Goldson directing that one over the bar. There's definitely space in behind the Rangers defence for Motherwell, but they haven't been able to capitalise on it. Michael Beale will want more from his players going forward. The half-time score at Fir Park: Motherwell 1, Rangers 1.
Andrew McLean, how have we spoke about protests and all that sort of stuff. I'm sure we'll get to that in the open line, but there's a big Rangers travelling support here. You can see and hear them. I just get to look at social media in here and they're really quite frustrated at the first half performance. Is that cutting through at Fir Park, or are they being a bit more patient?
Yeah, I think there certainly was frustration. Look, I think after the protest right at the start of the game, the Rangers supporters had put the banners down. They were getting right behind their team. They were singing, but of course, conceding that early goal, there was a bit of frustration that started to creep in. And I think it's just the fact that Rangers, a lot of the time when they were going forward, it was overhit crosses from Yilmaz or James Tavernier on the other side. There was that chance where they were 3-on-3 through the middle of the pitch and Ryan Kent chose the wrong option, and it was a good block by the Motherwell defender Callum Butcher in the end, but Ryan Kent probably should have done better. And there are those sort of short moments of frustration that you do hear the Rangers fans maybe moaning and groaning and grumbling a wee bit, but you know, they'll be hoping that their team will come out and have a more polished performance in the final third in the second half.
How would you sum up that first half, Gordon Dalziel?
I think that Stuart Kettlewell will be delighted to get in at half time 1-1. They got off to a great start, good shape about them, confidence of the goal, terrific goal, well timed run down the right hand side. Van Veen does what he does for Motherwell, puts the ball in the back of net, and then just that crazy decision, Slattery giving away the free kick. And the minute that free kick was given, I think we all looked at each other in here thinking this is a dangerous situation for Motherwell. They will all get lined up. That man Tavernier, he's absolutely brilliant at it. You've got to give him all the credit in the world. And he steps up, he hits the target. Yes, you can criticise Motherwell's goalkeeper, of course you can, he should do better. That's nothing to do with Tavernier. And after that, Rangers looked a bit better, but I think Michael Beale will be wanting a lot more.
Yeah, I think the summary of Rangers' first half performance would have to be a harsh one. Sakala, erratic. Kent, anonymous. Cantwell started brightly, fell away. Cholak, where is he? So there are many questions for Michael Beale. It's not, I know he's obliged to chase Celtic down until he can chase them no more, but he's not going to get anywhere with performances like that. And it'd be interesting to see his approach to the second half, whether in fact he goes for change immediately, because the team on the park right now isn't working.
Sum up the first half, Roger.
Well, I think big picture, Gordon, Motherwell will probably have taken a 1-1 at half time at home to Rangers, but when you actually assess the game, Motherwell will be really disappointed because Rangers have been poor. They haven't really carried much of an attacking threat, and it was a rush of blood by Callum Slattery. They conceded a free kick. They didn't react. The wall was poor. Liam Kelly was poor. That brought Rangers back in.
A very interesting opening 45 minutes at Fir Park. Then we will go back to North Lanarkshire for the start of the second half next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time at Fir Park. It's Motherwell 1, Rangers 1. Motherwell took an early lead through Kevin Van Veen. There were suggestions of offside, but VAR proved it to be onside, and the goal stood, gave Motherwell the lead, and Rangers never really looked like they were getting going. A free kick goal from James Tavernier, 98 for a right back at Rangers now, and that draws us level at the break. Andrew McLean, you can sometimes tell if they're thinking about a change at the break based on who's warming up and who's not. What's the picture looking like?
Yeah, well, all 8 of Motherwell's outfield players have been out doing a sort of normal half-time warm-up, so I wouldn't expect there to be any changes for them. Every single Rangers substitute was inside in the changing room during half-time there, but they have started to make their way out and warm up and train. Scott Arfield, Adam Devine were the first 2 out, and now they've been joined by Glenn Kamara, Alfredo Morelos, John Suter and Scott Wright. Malik Tillman making his way out there at the moment as well, so it probably doesn't look as if there is going to be any immediate changes for Michael Beale, although you'd think they will need to as the game progresses. If it stays the same, we'll need to make some changes in that final third, because Cholak and Sakala haven't really done enough as a front two there. There are options. Malik Tillman has scored 2 and 2 against Motherwell this season. Michael Beale was talking up Alfredo Morelos during the week, so does he potentially get a look in slightly earlier than he has in the last few games? It'll be interesting to see, but at the moment I wouldn't expect there to be any changes bang on the start of the second half.
Not suggesting Rangers fans would be happy or content necessarily, Roger Hanna, but history tells you they don't tend to struggle under Michael Beale from these positions. They've got lots of experience at it. I know it's not ideal, but right at the very start of the Michael Beale era, they were 2-1 down at home to Hibs at half time, came back to win the game. The very next match they were 2-1 down in the 90th minute at Aberdeen, came back to win the match. It is not uncommon for them to fall behind. It's a real feature I'm sure they'll want rid of. Fast forward to the Celtic game, of course, they were 1-0 down to Dyes and Maida 5 minutes in and go and get a point there as well. You can run that on to the League Cup game against Aberdeen. You know, they've done it a lot basically.
Yeah, they do, and they can't play as poorly as they did in the first half. You would suspect, Gordon, in the second half. The big picture would be, it must be a concern for Michael Beale that this is happening so often. They are making such sluggish starts so often, and they're having to come back into the game from a position of a deficit, if you like. He won't want that going forward.
The fascination for me, Gordon, will be if he decides to bring on Morelos. Which version of Morelos comes on? The one who enters the park with his face tripping him, or somebody who's intent on doing half a day's work? So right now, Cholak and Sakala, you could not hang your hat on them getting you through this day. So there's a big decision to be made there.
Andrew McLean, Yanis Hadji is not out warming up. He might have just nipped to the bathroom, or he might be coming on. Is that something you can tell us more about?
Yeah, he's certainly the only outfield player that's not out there warming up for Rangers at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see whether that is a move that's made. Michael Beale will maybe want to take a look at Sakala and Cholak and take one of them off and maybe just get more supply into that forward line. Yanis Hadji could potentially offer that, but you look at his record recently. He's only come back from a year-long injury. He's had substitute appearances for Rangers so far. I think he started against Partick Thistle, played 45 minutes in that game, has come off the bench in their last 3 matches, is still getting up to speed, but Michael Beale may think that he's the man to come on and add a bit of creativity in that final third. But I will let you know if he emerges stripped and ready to go.
I won't be surprised if the Rangers manager decides to mix it up. I don't think Lundstram and Jack and Cantwell in there for me is working. I think you need to take Motherwell's midfield players back the way and put pressure on them. You've seen when obviously the first chance they had to go and attack from Moudley Park, Slattery gives away, free kick leads to a goal. They've got good options. Hadji can open up defences, can get you goals. Tillman, question mark, how fit is he? I think this game shortly, if it keeps going the way it's going, and I know what you've got to say, I think it's tailor-made for Arfield. I think someone that's just going to make those timed runs again and again, and he'll get onto things. I think he would cause Motherwell in midfield so many problems.
It sounds like players are slowly starting to make their way back out, Andrew McLean.
Yeah, well, you may have been right on the case of Yanis Hadji. It may well have been just a bathroom break for him, because he's certainly not going to be coming out at the start of this second half. It is the same 11 for Rangers, and it will be the same 11 for Motherwell as well. So I will give you a read through just of the teams again. Liam Kelly in goal for Motherwell, the back five: Max Johnson, Paul McGinn, Callum Butcher, Dan Casey and James Furlong. Dean Cornelius, Callum Slattery and Sean Goss, the midfield three. Blair Spittle will continue to support Kevin Van Veen. For Rangers, Alan McGregor in goal, the back four: James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davies and Ridvan Yilmaz. It's then a midfield three of Ryan Jack, John Lundstrom and Todd Cantwell, with Ryan Kent in behind Fashion Sakala and Antonio Cholak. So we are just about to get underway. Sean Goss is standing over the ball. Nick Walsh is just checking that everything is good to go. It's Motherwell 1, Rangers 1, and we are just about to get underway for the second half.
Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Windows and Doors. Buy now, pay nothing till 2024.
So no changes at the break then. Is it the usual wait till 60 minutes, give them 5 minutes to see how they respond, all these types of things you hear, Hugh Keevins?
It looks that way. Michael Beale may say, look, plan A hasn't gone to plan, but you need to do plan A better.
Well, here's Ryan Kent immediately on the attack for Rangers. It's a good run down the left, then checks back, but the cross can only find Sean Goss, I think, who hacks it long up the field.
Yeah, we've only 30 seconds here in the second half. There looks to be more energy from Rangers. They're starting playing balls forward. Todd Cantwell got his head up there. Kent looked as dangerous in that first 30 seconds he'd looked at any stage in the first 45 minutes.
People always ask the question, why do you not change it at half time? I'm a great believer in try and change it with the 11 that's originally started on the pitch, whether it be tweaking formation, way they get the ball to the front men, different positions. Then if that doesn't work, I think you use your substitutions.
And there we are, it's worked already for Rangers.
Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's Fashion Sakala with a bullet header. 46 minutes gone. It's Motherwell 1, Rangers 2. The crossing hadn't been great in the first half. That one was right on the money. It's another assist for James Tavernier. Ball played out to him by Cantwell. Just lifted his head, took it out his feet, swept it into the box, and it is a great header from Fashion Sakala, leaving Liam Kelly with no chance.
Well, what a start. As good a start to the second half as Motherwell made to the first half. And it does hint at Michael Beale having expressed himself in an unmistakable manner in the dressing room at half time, and the kind of start I think that makes Rangers a better bet now to go on and do what they should have done from the start.
Everything Rangers did poorly in the first half, they did well there. They were quicker, they got Tavernier into a more advanced role. The crossing, which had been appalling in the first half, was exemplary there. And Sakala, who was hopeless in the first half, suddenly gets himself into a position and executes the header back across Liam Kelly really well.
It's something that gets overlooked a bit, Gordon. He actually has got a pretty good leap. Fashion Sakala, he scored a couple of impressive headers. Was it one at Livingston, I seem to remember? And he absolutely hates your team. He hates Motherwell. That's 6 goals in 6 games against the Steelmen.
That ball comes from one thing. The cross from the Rangers captain is brilliant. Okay, if you're Motherwell, you can look at your defender McGinn at the back post, but take nothing away from that ball. If you're any centre forward in the country, I'll be saying to your full back or a wide man, put a quality ball in like that. See if I don't get my head on it, you can give me a bit of criticism. Sakala obliges and gives Liam Kelly absolutely no chance.
So to be fair to Michael Beale, we spent the 15 minutes of the interval wondering, how many changes or what do you do now? He has done a Gordon Dalziel. He has said to the 11 players on the park, I still believe that you can do it, but you've been poor in the first half. We get out and do something else, and they have done it right away. And what a test of Motherwell now, because if they lose a third, you might as well just pull down the tent and go home.
This is where you have to get the big moments in the game right, Gordon Dalziel, because that day that Fashion Sakala got his hat-trick and Rangers went to Fir Park and won 6-1, something that I think gets forgotten about a little bit. It was 1-1 with 45 minutes gone that day, and James Tavernier scored in the 40. Fashion Sakala scored in the 40. In fact, Motherwell won up in the 43rd minute, and Rangers came back and won 6. And here they are. They're in again here. It could be another Cholak. Got no idea why he waited so long to hit it, because the angle was just getting tighter and tighter, and by the end, he slashes it miles behind. It's an awful finish from Antonio Cholak.
It's worrying times for Motherwell. They're all over the place. They looked well organised.
He's got to square it to Sakala, doesn't he?
Yeah, not just that. I think you were right on the money, Gordon. He waits too long for a striker and he kills his angle. But if he goes like that and waits too long, he's got to square that for Sakala. But it's worrying times for Motherwell. But Rangers, what Michael Wales probably said at half time, look, our crossing's been terrible. We've not moved the ball quick enough. We've not got into positions quick enough. They've responded to that because they're good players and they're causing Motherwell problems.
To be fair, there are parts of it that the players just need to do themselves. It's not like Michael Beale can say to James Tavernier at half time, by the way, can you cross it better? And he goes, good shout, Gaffer, I'll go and do that. You know, it was fairly obvious that you need to just execute that differently. That can't be advice from Michael Beale, that bit.
Yeah, but I think what he'll do is he'll look at the overall picture. I think he will have highlighted, guys, when we're getting into the final third, we need to make sure there are better crosses going into.
Obviously, what I'm saying is, me saying to you, Gordon, going to go and cross that.
It's up to the responsibility of the player.
Any difference.
But the thing is, Tavernier's got the quality. So
you think McGinn should have done better?
Yes, I do, but take nothing away from Sakala. He peels off him and gives him a problem, as Kent has. But you're going back to your goal there. Yes, I totally understand. If you're Motherwell and you're stripping that down, McGinn's position is terrible, but that's because Sakala's peeled off him,
and it's a good ball,
and it's a terrific ball. It's not a good ball, it's a terrific ball.
It's a difficult one for Motherwell now, Gordon, because the onus is on them to come back into this game. But to get back into the game, they need players in advanced positions close to Van Veen. And you've seen in the last 5 minutes since Sakala scored, the problem of getting people forward is leaving holes for Rangers to pick you off.
Yes, indeed. If you're interested in the other shaped ball, Scotland have gone 17-6 up against Italy. 5 minutes, I think, into the second half in that one.
You fancied them strongly there, didn't you, Daz?
I did, yeah, I had them each way.
Yeah, you tell me he's a big Blair Kinghorn fan, actually.
I love Blair.
Driving
Blair,
in, so
Blair's the man.
Yes.
I couldn't name you one Scotland rugby player.
I've just given you one, so you're fine.
What's his name? Blair King what?
Never mind. Kevin Van Veen, do you know his name? He's just been penalised for a foul on Connor Goldson, who
he'll need to watch, because
Van Veen felt hard done by.
He was lucky he wasn't in the book in the first half. Motherwell need to settle in here. If they lose another one, this game's beyond them. They've got to settle in. Rangers got the bit between their teeth.
Giving the ball away to Rangers like that won't do, though. Furlong into Kent to Tavernier. Sorry, now it's Kent arriving. It was Cholak initially, and exact same position from Tavernier to cross another one, and this one hits the defender. Goes for a corner kick.
Just doing it at greater pace, Rangers, aren't they, Hugh?
Yeah, the first half is now a mirage. They've come out and they are doing what they should have done in the first place, and as Rogers rightly says, at quicker speed.
A substitution already, 7 minutes into the second half, which makes me think it's for Motherwell. I don't know if there's an issue, because it's not often you would, unless it's a change in shape or something. But Bevis Mugabe's coming on, so centre back coming on, and Paul McGinn going off, the man who was out jumped by doesn't look injured either, but he's,
I think the word you're looking for is hooked.
I'm still not sure either way. But anyway, Bevis Mugabe is on.
I think a bit of extra height in there, Gordon, because I do agree with you. Your defender, you're looking to do better, but I'm not taking anything away from Rangers' goal. It was terrific, but
and
maybe
McGinn gives you a lot on the ball as well.
Yeah, and good pace, anything over the back. I remember he played that position at Ibrox, and I thought he was terrific that day. He's just unfortunate after 8 minutes the second half. He's unfortunate. He's found himself being subbed.
Corner from Tavernier, it evades everyone, bounces then in the box over the head of Goldson. He will keep it in though, and just going to be launched in early. Liam Kelly's got a job in his hands here, goes over him, and goalkeepers tend to get those decisions anyway.
They do,
Nick Walsh has done him a favour there.
He didn't look comfortable, did he? He did not look comfortable there. We'll need to see it again because it could have been a free kick and it could be a bit unfair on them. But yeah, Rangers look like they smell blood here. They look like they're going for a third. It would certainly kill this game.
Fashion Sakala, just such a source of frustration, confusion for some Rangers fans. Roger, he's got 6 goals and 6 assists in the 14 games he's played under Michael Beale. It is a brilliant return. And you look at the first half where he couldn't control the ball and he was tripping over himself, and you just wonder, will he ever be able to iron out that part? Is he the guy to help take Rangers to the level they want to be, or do the numbers speak for themselves?
Difficult to say. He's not a young man. It was his birthday through the week, I think, Gordon. 26 years of age. So we're not dealing with a youngster. If he's going to get any better, he needs to iron out the inconsistencies.
However,
as we say, first half dreadful, second half goal.
And when he's there you are. And they saw the two sides. The turn and run was great, the pass was awful, and Motherwell defend comfortably.
As a manager and a coach, you'd probably frustrate the life out of you because you see so much in him. There you seen, we were watching the turns, brilliant, get great pace, good leap, can score goals, but there's a lot of inconsistency in his play. But Roger, 26, I think you're at a good age in your career at 26, you know. And I think he's got to. I think he's get better and better under Michael Beale. Next season could be a big season for him.
The sun's out in Lanarkshire. That's all I've got to offer you right now, because the game's hit a little bit of a lull, which will probably suit Motherwell, because Rangers were looking.
The windies are open.
The windows are open.
Yeah.
A washing out.
Well, out the windows.
Hang out the window.
No, I'd never do that. No.
Sakala, is he a Ross Wilson production?
Yes, certainly signed under his tenure at the club.
Cholak.
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
I'm just assessing the Ross Wilson signings to see if the calls for him to go are justifiable.
Those two wouldn't be anywhere near bottom of the list, I wouldn't have thought, Roger, when you take them all into account.
No, I wouldn't have thought so at all. They've shown up reasonably well at spells. Here's another spell, perhaps. Sakala playing the ball into Cholak just wide at the near post.
Too easy, Roger. It's too easy. Cholak makes a good run. Sakala makes a good run, and he just brushes off Maccabi like he's not there.
That's much quicker than Maccabi, though, isn't he?
But it's good timing, good run. Guys touched on it. Rangers have come out, they look sharper, they're moving the ball quicker, their movements quicker, they're dropping into nice positions, they're causing Motherwell all sorts of problems just now.
56 gone. It's Motherwell 1, Rangers 2. Don't forget, we've got 5 brilliant Premiership fixtures at 3 o'clock as well, so the action is not done yet. And even if you go down the divisions, some brilliant games to look forward to, so lots to get our teeth stuck into this afternoon. Get the feet up, and we'll take you through all the action, all the talking points that you need to know about. Ridvan Yilmaz is down, but I think it was just a trip. I don't think there's any suggestion of anything untoward. He's back on his feet and on we go.
Cholak just doesn't look as if he's at it today. I wonder if there might be, as we approach the hour mark, a call for the Colombian.
The thing about that, Hugh, is managers don't get too caught up in that, because he's a goal scorer, lad. He's just waiting for that opportunity. Yes, I can't disagree. Has he had a good game? No, he's not. He's hardly been involved. But as a manager, you're sitting there saying, yeah, keep my goal scorer there. I know that Morelos is an option for him. Cholak will be desperate to get on. His movement's good off the ball, but I would not be in a hurry to take him off.
Motherwell again coming for us. A really nice turn from Van Veen. He sends Goldson the wrong way, but it's him against 4 Rangers players. He now does get some reinforcements from Max Johnson, but he just tries to skip away from, and the ball's headed back, and there's a bit of confusion there. Alan McGregor came, Lundstrom didn't know he was there, and he's headed it behind for a corner. Yeah,
real confusion in the Rangers back line there, and it's all sparked by the good play of Kevin Van Veen.
It's a great touch, isn't it?
Yeah, and he tries to feed the ball into, I think it was Johnson coming up outside him. Yilmaz actually gets a good challenge in, and then it all sort of goes awry for Rangers. McGregor comes out, Lundstrom doesn't realise, he thinks he's heading it back to him. Corner, Motherwell.
I think you notice here, Gordon, and if we're going to get anything out of the game, need to get more support quickly to Van Veen. He'd take touch after touch after touch. You need to do it quicker against Rangers.
So the arm goes up, the corner's going to be whipped in left footed. It's a decent enough ball, but it's right on the head of James Tavernier and Mugabe's in there, and it's sort of bouncing around everywhere, and it's in the back of the net at Fir Park.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Motherwell 2, Rangers 2, and it's the substitute Bevis Mugabe causing chaos from the set piece. The initial contact wasn't clear. It was an old-fashioned stramash, and Mugabe takes the acclaim of his teammates. An awful long time out injured. He's only just come back into the setup. A very popular goal scorer by the looks of it, and we are level at Fir Park.
I thoroughly approve of your decision to reprise an old-fashioned word, stramash. But that was awful.
Soft from Rangers, wasn't it?
Yeah, terrible. Awful defending.
It's a case of Hugh.
Oh, Cholak.
Yeah.
Does not cover himself in glory.
Tavernier first, a dreadful attempt at a clearing header by the Rangers captain. The ball then comes back in. Tavernier seems to be appealing for something. I'm not sure what he's appealing
they're
for.
Appealing for handballs,
He-
and it might well be.
He doesn't deal with it. Cholak doesn't deal with it. McGregor doesn't have a chance. 2-2.
Yeah.
Catalogue of errors by
Dan
Rangers.
Casey, the ball seems to strike a bit of his arm in the build up. Now, of course, you're back to the old armpit line and all that sort of stuff, but I think the goal stands and we're underway, are we?
Yes. Yeah. It's incredible. Bevis Mugabe, since coming on, has looked decidedly iffy, caught for pace, etc, and now he's poked that ball over the line and game on with half an hour to go.
You throw a ball into the box, Gordon, you cause chaos. It's not always easy to defend, but Michael Beale will be tearing his hair out at the attempts from his players there.
Terrible, absolutely terrible. I gave Motherwell some criticism. I've got to give Rangers the same. That is a terrible goal to lose. But here's the plus side for Motherwell. Mugabe wanted that more than anybody else in that box. He never gave it up.
Talk me through even what Cholak's trying to do. He almost seems to be trying to shield the ball in a box that's got 22 players in it.
I think he thinks Tavernier's going to clear it. Tavernier thinks Cholak. And can I take you back to the concession of the corner in the first place?
True.
Needless mix up between McGregor and Lundstrom. Not good play by Rangers at all at the back.
I mean, Gordon, I think again that there were so many errors. I said when the corner from Furlong came in, it was right on the head of Tavernier, and it was, but I don't know if he jumped too early, so his header went straight up in the air, and then when it comes back down, that's when it all starts. And decision making, desire. Rangers didn't have the first part, and Motherwell had the second.
When that ball comes back down after a poor header, look at the difference in Motherwell now. They've got a bit of, as
Van Veen might be in here.
Chance here.
Alan McGregor comes out and takes a swipe. And it drifts wide from Kevin Van Veen. Alan McGregor came rushing out, had to get it right, just about did.
It's amazing what goals do for you. All of a sudden, when Motherwell went behind, they looked sluggish. Look at them now, they're sharp. McGregor's out there. That's a great opportunity. It's a difficult opportunity, but it's a great opportunity.
Kevin Van Veen is occupying the Rangers back four on his own at the minute.
Yeah, Rangers started brilliantly second half, but that goal in the box, and as you said, the minute Tavernier heads that up in the air, you look at Mugabe, very strong. Rangers going at it now. We've got a game in their hands, let's be honest here.
Yeah, but now Rangers are in the box, and it's hacked. A good save, Liam Kelly, but it's in the back of the net again.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's Todd Cantwell. It's getting a bit scrappy in the boxes, but it's the attacking sides that are taking advantage. There was a good block from Mugabe, then a great save from Kelly, but Motherwell's resistance couldn't stand up much longer, and Todd Cantwell fires it high into the roof of the net to make it Motherwell 2, Rangers 3.
Shabby again. This Roger Hanna now leads the
offside, maybe, is it? That looks tight to me.
Well,
that
we'll
looks offside to me.
Yeah, we said that with the first one.
Yeah, get the grass cutter out.
We'll need to do the lines. We'll have the old VAR check certainly on that one.
But
Roger Hanna said it'd be 3-2, and he's right. But the defending is just awful. It's not.
I thought it was all right to begin with as well. Can they do much more there?
Well, you get three defenders standing behind the goalkeeper at one point.
Good block there. Then that's just a good save, and
that's a good save, but falls brilliantly for Cantwell. Are they checking that, Gordon? Because that looked tight.
You check every goal.
That looked tight to me.
Check every goal. That's what they do.
What about you, eagle-eyed Hannah?
The far side.
I'm not so sure. I think it's very, very tight. Wouldn't surprise me if it was chalked off. Nick Walsh having a a little delay just now, just waiting to hear from
It
his.
looked tight to me.
So did the Motherwell
Yes,
goal.
I agree with that.
At the
We're
same,
getting the TV
same
angle.
End of the same end of the pitch.
Yeah, you better get the grass cutter out quickly.
Having a look, certainly, as you would do with every goal. Nick Walsh is just waiting for further instruction from Clydesdale House.
It was the initial ball to Sakala long before the melee ever unfolded, and it was a great, bodies on the line defending right at the very start of the move. This is where it could be pulled back from. Sakala freed by Ryan Kent down the left hand side, maybe half a foot.
Because it would be the attacking phase of play. That's
Oh, it's certainly,
it would certainly be part of that.
And that's why there is this
goal given, I think.
I think
looks
it is.
like it.
Looks as if he's given it.
And we're fine, so we'll need to see the lines on it.
We're back.
Or are we?
Oh,
He doesn't look too happy.
No, Todd Cantwell's not celebrating, so what's happening here?
I thought Nick Walsh was signalling as if it was going to be
Yeah,
a
it's
goal.
just a substitution.
Yeah, substitutions.
And this is part of the problem. You're left in the dark. You've got TV audience, you've got stadium audience.
This was a point that Roy McGregor, owner of Ross County, was making to me last week, that it takes away from the spectacle, it takes away from the entertainment for the fan watching at home, but more specifically for the fan in the ground, waiting to see.
But if the offside is correct and it's 100% correct,
It's better than
it's the right decision. Then
I agree, but why does it take so long?
Surely you just
put the lines there.
No, because what if there's another foul in the build-up? What if there's something that happens before? Not maybe in this instance, but you have to check everything in the attacking phase of play.
Well, it's given
The
anyway.
goal's been given. Motherwell 2, Rangers 3, and a substitution. Morelos and Tillman on.
In the week of Cheltenham, Hugh, am I allowed to cash out now with my prediction?
Well, you should. It was a magnificent prediction. I couldn't see Motherwell scoring twice. Could they score a third time?
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if they're more got. The two defences have been
neither would I. That's why I'm gloating just now. Does
absolutely dreadful, I've got to say. But all credit to Rangers, they come back in there.
And again, it's the exact same as the first one. So it looked, Sakala looks miles off, and when you see the lines, he's not. And you have to take it on the chin and accept that goal should stand.
Callum Butcher in the middle?
Yes. So we take that one on the chin, accept it's right, and you do that with the first one as well.
That's
Don't
what
worry
I
yourself about the line of the pitch. That's all. That one was onside, and so was the first
I
one.
take Roger's point about how, but that's what I like about VAR,
because he looked miles off there.
Yeah,
and maybe they've got that wrong.
And an assistant referee could have easily made a mistake, got that wrong, denied a goal, but the decision's correct.
What an exciting game of football!
Some game we've got in our hands.
I think there's more to come.
Cholak and Morelos, Cholak has gone, Morelos has come on for him, Sakala has gone,
Malik Tillman.
I think those were the correct decisions to make by Michael Beale. If Rangers get a fourth, that's it. But we've still got 25 minutes to go. Defending is decidedly awful, and who knows?
You look at this Rangers team though, I mean, it sounds a ridiculous thing to say. If Rangers get a fourth, that should be okay. How many times are the Rangers attack going to be required to score a third and a fourth to win games? 3-2 at Aberdeen, as Gordon mentioned earlier, 3-2 at home to Hibs. 2-2 wasn't good enough in the Old Firm game against Celtic at New Year. You can't go on long term, Michael Beale's Rangers team, losing 2 goals and expecting to win games of football.
That's why part of the reason Celtic's goal difference is, 27 ahead of Rangers.
Yeah,
getting it right at both ends. But anyway, 67 gone. We've got a proper game in our hands. It's Motherwell 2, Rangers 3. And the sickener for Motherwell, Gordon, again, if you're talking about big moments, if you somehow get yourself back in when it doesn't look likely, you're going to need to hang on longer than they did.
100%. And that's what will disappoint everyone concerned with Motherwell, especially the manager and the coaching staff. You get so excited, you get back into this game, you're thinking, right, game on. You get carried away, your concentration goes down. Rangers have got the quality just to open you up, cause you problems, and all of a sudden you're thinking, we're back to square one, we're behind again. I think Motherwell disappointed, but give Rangers a lot of credit. 2-2, showed a bit of character again, opened Motherwell up, Cantwell. I don't think he's had his greatest game today, but terrific finish for him.
Well, as I say, we are in anything could happen territory, because Motherwell have the look of a team who know that a third goal is not entirely out of the question, unless Rangers score a fourth goal, at which point heads go down, chins hit your chest, and that will be that for them. but at the moment you never know.
68.5. We'll see if Motherwell roll the dice in an attacking sense. Perhaps there's not no John Obika this time. He's been a decent addition to the Motherwell team. Mandron's back. You'll remember the name, maybe just signed when Motherwell needed players. Got a double in his debut in the Cup at Arbroath. Not really seen since, injured. Stuart McKinstry, maybe Malik Tillman though, edge of the box, and it's in the back of the net. What a finish.
Two something.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And just like he did earlier in the season, Malik Tillman scores at Fir Park. It was impressive that day. It's impressive for a slightly different reason this afternoon. Absolutely lashed it beyond Liam Kelly, and that looks a bit more comfortable for Rangers now. Motherwell 2, Rangers 4.
Well, that's just the end of the game. I mean, Rangers can only add to their tally. It's a magnificent strike. And Rangers, to be fair, we've criticised them. The first half performance was shabby. The second half, they've come out with serious intent, and they're home and hose now.
Liam Kelly sees it on the way back out.
We have criticised the man, so let's praise him when praise is due. Great play by Morelos. He could easily just have flashed the ball across the 6-yard box. He didn't. He took a touch, he controlled it, he looked up, he picked out his fellow substitute Tillman, and that's now 3 games Malik Tillman's played against Motherwell, a goal in each of the 3.
It's superb. When I seen him taking a touch, I thought, got to be difficult to score, and all of a sudden the ball, like Kelly, is in the back of the net. You don't even see it. Great, as you say, Roger. I look at Morelos and I'm thinking, square it earlier for your forwards running in. He takes his time, he picks out the pass, but Tillman executes that. Fantastic. What a goal that is.
Well, can you see any way back, Gordon Dale?
No, I can see more goals. And I think Motherwell are on the ropes. I think if I was at Fir Park now, one of my white towels would be getting thrown onto the grass.
We're talking all week about a league that lacks competitiveness. So to be fair to Motherwell, for 70 minutes they have given this a right go, and we had a very entertaining game of football as Arfield comes on in place of Yilmaz. But
talk me through that. Who's going to play left back for Rangers? Anyone?
Is
this
3 at the back?
John Lundstrom in? No.
3. Yeah.
And what, Ryan Kent as a left wing back?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, for 70 minutes Motherwell gave it a go. They're done now, but they're playing the team who are second top, and who in terms of squad strength are miles in front of them. But credit to Motherwell, they've given it a go, but it's a premature end.
Yeah, I feel for them. You know, if you say Stuart Kettlewell, and by the way, the game's only 7, but if you say him at 12:30, look, I'll give you 2 a start at home against Rangers, you'd be going great. But Rangers have just, second half, I think they've been excellent apart from that bit of defending. The substitutions Roger touched on, got to give the manager credit, because it worked for him. Morelos into Tillman back of the net. So I do agree that you can't keep going and having to score 3 and 4 goals to win games. All credit, they've got there. The game's put to bed now. I see Rangers maybe scoring another one before full time.
Yeah, 72 gone. Motherwell have made changes as well. I think it was Tierney and Mandron came on in the aftermath of that goal. Kevin Van Veen stays on though, so Motherwell with a different attacking outlook to try and get something out of this game, but it's certainly going to be tough now.
Well, they're going to have a go now, aren't they? I think when they were only a goal behind, you can understand Stuart Kettlewell's reluctance to overcommit. Now it's 4-2, and he has to overcommit because he's only got 18 minutes left to get 2 goals and get back into this incredible game of football.
And Rangers might get their next one. It's in the box, but Motherwell have got plenty of bodies back and get it clear.
And they've got the added advantage now, Rangers, of, I keep saying about these midfield players. Tillman, you see him getting into the box, goal. Tillman, Cantwell, box, goal. Now they've brought on, I think, one of the best in the business, Arfield. I think he's made a terrific career out of his timing of the runs into the box.
Yeah, Todd Cantwell was slack, gave it to Van Veen, brought him down, free kick Motherwell, but just in the middle of the pitch, so no real danger as such.
Are you surprised, as you know your admiration for Arfield, when you go back to that Aberdeen game at the start of Michael Beale's tenure when he scored the 2 goals in added time? Are you surprised how little action Arfield has actually seen since then under Beale?
Yeah, I am, but the competition in the middle of the park, especially bringing in Cantwell as well. Tillman's got a good. Raskin's there for him. I'm a big Ryan Jack fan. I think I would keep Ryan Jack all day long. I think he brings a lot to that middle of the park. Arfield to me just now is a terrific last 25-30 minute man. I really do. I think he's a great option to bring off the bench.
Right, so it looks like Rangers will cut the gap to 6, but Celtic of course will have the chance to respond at home to Hibs. Let's quickly try and get some team news there. It's always a bit disjointed when we've got early kick-offs and we can't get round the other grounds at the same time we usually do, but Gabriel has the teams for us.
Yes, I do, Gordon. Ange Postecoglou defended the strength of the league after it was questioned by Japan manager Hajime Moriyasu after he excluded Reo Hatate and Kyogo from his squad. Both of them start today. Daisen Maeda, who did make the Japan team, is back in after missing out last weekend through injury. So Postecoglou makes 2 changes to his side that eased past Hearts a week ago. Maeda and Matt O'Reilly come in. Aaron Moy misses out. He's been sore for the past couple of weeks, while Sead Haksabanovic drops to the bench. Carl Starfelt and Greg Taylor have both been past fit to play. So the team is as follows: 4-3-3 as usual. Joe Hart in goal. A back four of Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Carl Starfelt and Greg Taylor. Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly and Reo Hatate are in midfield, with Jota, Kyogo and Daisen Maeda the front three. The substitutes for the Hoops are Bain, Abada, Turnbull, Kobayashi, O, Summers, Bernabe, Haksabanovic and Ralston. Well, how about Hibernian? Lee Johnson makes 3 changes to his side, and they are interesting ones. Lewis Miller, the Australian, makes his first ever league start. Marian Cabrera returns to the team, and Jake Doyle-Hayes comes in for the first time since August. Hop, Henderson and Cadden drop out from the game against Rangers 10 days ago, and it's a change of formation as well. They look like they're going to be in a 5-4-1. So it's David Marshall, the captain, in goal. Lewis Miller will play right wing back with Will Fish, Paul Hanlon and Lewis Stevenson in the middle of a back three, and Marian Cabrera on the left hand side. James Jeggo, Jake Doyle-Hayes, CJ Egan-Riley and Josh Campbell will be in the middle of the park. Eli Yuan leads the line by himself. The substitutes are Johnson, Cadden, Hop, Nisbet, Devlin, Henderson, McCurdy, O'McIntyre and Kukurevich. The referee here at Parkhead is Stephen McLean. Gavin Duncan is the VAR.
Red card at Fir Park. Callum Slattery's been sent off. It's a second booking. He seemed to catch, or did he catch Todd Cantwell with a flailing arm as he looked to get away from him?
He's trying to protect the ball, Slattery, and he tries to fend off Cantwell. The arm is quite high, catches Cantwell in the face. I'm not too sure there's a lot of malice in the action, Gordon, but as we said in the first half, when he get booked for that ridiculous foul on Lundstrom,
Gordon,
you walk a tightrope.
I will take the accusations of bias on the chin, because that's the way it works. Callum Slattery doesn't even look to see anywhere where Cantwell is, and it's not the first arm, it's the other one that comes round. He barely even catches him in the face. It kind of goes round the side of Todd Cantwell's chin. Like I say, is that me? Have I got claret and
when I seen it in real time, Gordon, I thought, what are you doing? You're putting yourself into such a position, you've been booked. When I see that there, replays, and it's okay, we're getting the benefit of replays, that's a terrible decision for me. I know the modern day game's different and tackling and whatever and the new rules, but that to me is a terrible yellow card.
In the first half, you were praising Nick Walsh and saying referees get too much criticism in this
game. He just calls it as he sees it, this guy.
Yeah, look, if you get things wrong, you've got to put your hands up. That's a poor decision. Nobody's telling me, I don't care what team he's playing for, what colour of jersey you're going, nobody's telling me that's a yellow card.
Yeah, you're right. It was never a yellow card and therefore should not have been a red, but it's all consistent with a day that's fallen apart for Motherwell. At 2-2, they looked as if they could be on the verge of creating a shock, but the goal that they scored to make it 2-2, they didn't hold on to it for 2 minutes, and when Rangers got 3-2 in front through Todd Cantwell, that changed the complexion of the afternoon. Tillman has added a beauty to make it 4. Now it's 11v10 and the clock has just been run down now.
The only thing I will say, Hugh, is, and like, it doesn't make any difference, but it would never have changed the way the game was going. Rangers were going, but for the lad, he's got to miss.
Not the point, though, is it? Exactly.
He's got to miss games as well. That was a ridiculous yellow card for me. I just don't know if that's a yellow card, I don't know where our game's going.
I mean, Roger, the other thing is, we know as well, for anyone who's not sure, VAR only steps in for straight red cards.
Yes.
It doesn't step in for second bookings, which you understand the logic there.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you would be checking every booking.
Callum Slattery would have been better getting a straight red card for that, and then at least VAR could have looked at
That's
it
true,
and got him off the hook. The second booking, there is no right of appeal. He will now miss the game in a couple of weeks against Hibs at Easter Road. It is a setback for Motherwell in a day that started so brightly for them.
Gabriel's team news from Celtic Park was overshadowed by all of that went on there. But again, in a week where not only was the league dissected because of what the Japanese manager said, but there was also a great debate about bringing young players on at clubs like Celtic and Rangers. How were they going to get in with all the players who are brought in there? And Ben Summers on the bench for Celtic, just out of the blue. Roger, you can fill us in on his background.
Well, listen, home produced at Lennoxton. I think he's 18 years of age, signed a contract extension earlier in the season. One of the homegrown players, highly regarded. And I think in an ideal world, I think Celtic and Ange Postecoglou would like to get some of these young lads involved a little bit more in the squad, in the first team squad this season. You've seen, the likes of Lawal coming onto the bench 2 or 3 times this season, and had the likes of Ben Doak and people like that still been in the club, they would have been integrated as well. So you never know. Young Ben might get a debut this afternoon.
What position is he?
Midfielder.
Good position to pick when you're.
I know, busy getting a game there.
The thing actually that jumped out for me from Gabriel's team news was the back four. Greg Taylor not in the Scotland squad but playing today. Cameron Carter-Vickers not in the USA squad but playing today. And Carl Starfeld, who went off at half time at Tynecastle last week with that hip flexor injury, is okay to start. All good news for Celtic.
Yeah, it's a very attacking Celtic side. Obviously Rangers have picked 3 points up, closed the gap. But you said it at the top of the show, Gordon, every time Celtic are asked to respond, they certainly do it, and they'll do it in style as Rangers come forward here.
James Tavernier in like a proper number 9 position. I don't really know how that happened, and it's going to be another free kick edge of the box to Rangers. Tavernier territory for sure.
It's kamikaze time from Motherwell. I mean, they spent the whole afternoon making rash challenges in dangerous places, and they've opened up the opportunity for Tavernier to make it 5-2.
Yeah, it's becoming a little bit raggedy. They're down to 10 men. Not long before the red card for Callum Slattery, they committed another couple of forward players to join Van Veen, so it is becoming a little bedraggled at the back for Motherwell.
I've got to say, from just a player's point of view, it's good to see Suter back on the pitch. He's had a real hard time, the lad, with injuries.
A few brief appearances.
Yeah, but it's nice that he's back there. He's fit. He's raring to get his Rangers career going. So fingers crossed for the lad that he can go and play some games.
Could this be goal number 99 for James Tavernier? He's already got 1 goal, 1 assist this afternoon.
I think Tavernier prefers it on the angle, but this is straight. I think he prefers it at the edge of the box where he can pick left or right. Obviously he can here, but it's a bit more difficult to get it up and down for me. You think so?
I think he fancies it. I think he fancies it for sure. Up he steps, and it's just over the top.
One of those ones that just went over the bar and just clipped the top of the net and the way across.
I think that's the fact that the ball's near to get it down, get that dip down quicker, Roger. See if he's back a bit, I think that's causing problems.
Well, no problems for Rangers now. We're into the last 10 minutes of the game. Michael Beale can relax. He's made the right calls, starting with keeping the starting 11 on the park for the start of the second half, even though they had a poor first 45 minutes. And we're in that position where it's over to Celtic now.
Yeah, positive side of the day for Rangers. 4 goals away from home, terrific. Substitutions making an impact. But negative side, I think he'll be disappointed. First half start, and I think with the goals.
So 82 and a half gone now. Motherwell 2, Rangers 4. Motherwell down to 10 men. Not necessarily a decision the panel agree with, but it is done. Callum Slattery sent off, and Rangers have that 2-goal cushion, and if anything look like they could add to it in the closing stages here. We've given you the Celtic team from Gabriel, and it's going to be a real fascinating one. That we'll certainly delve into it in a bit more detail once this game is done. But obviously the gap will be cut to 6. Can Celtic stretch it to 9 again? They've done it so many times since Michael Beale came in. The scheduling, live TV games and so on, Rangers have tended to play first, and Celtic have to respond, and they've done it every time. So
the stats that Celtic accumulate are staggering. You know, they haven't lost a home league game this season. They haven't lost at home, I believe, since 2021. I mean, they are the model of efficiency and consistency. They've already taken 6 off Hibs this season. In their last 3 games, they scored 11 goals with 10 different goal scorers. They just go on and on and on. It would have to be a catastrophic day for Celtic not to beat Hibs.
And they've lost. Sorry, they've scored 10 goals in 2 games against Hibs this season.
Yeah.
6-1, 4-0. Hibernian have not been able to lay a glove on them at all. And to be honest, you know, off the back of Hibs' last performance, that 4-1 home defeat to Rangers at Easter Road, when they were simply blown away, Hugh, you would struggle to make a case for them at Celtic Park today.
We spent nearly 2 hours of Super Scoreboard last night arguing over allocation of tickets for away fans. Now, Celtic have said no Rangers fans at all in the ground on the 8th of April. Rangers have now cut the lead to 6 points. Celtic now obliged to make sure that those stats that they have racked up are added to today, so that April 8 at Celtic Park, not a Rangers fan in the place, Celtic are obliged to make sure that the 9-point gap with exotic goal difference in their favour stands until the 8th of April. That's foremost on their minds from 3 o'clock today.
And if you look back to the last Old Firm game, January 2 at Ibrox, 13 straight wins for Ange Postecoglou's Celtic since that game. They've responded magnificently. I would expect that to go to 14. I think it's 2010 since Hibs last won at Celtic.
Rangers are in again here. It's Alfredo Morelos twisting back, but he gets the shot all wrong. Or does it take a touch? Yeah, I think it does, sorry. I think it was defended in the end and out for a corner.
I think that's poor from Morelos. I think
slack, didn't it?
Yeah, I think he takes that touch. He shouldn't just let it run through your body. He gets a great position. He's looked all right since he come on, Morelos.
He's missed it.
Liam Kelly.
Liam Kelly missed it, and I don't think Morelos knew. I don't think he anticipated.
Did he get a hand to it, Kelly?
A wee touch that one.
Yeah.
I think he touches off him, Roger.
Yeah. Liam Kelly actually drops it onto
yeah,
Morelos' head, and then it goes wide. He's got away with one.
Got lucky there.
Kelly's hoping that Steve Clark's had a poor cut this afternoon. I'll tell you that right now. He's had a poor afternoon. I think that Morelos must pull the trigger there, and he's
good defending from Mugabe.
Yeah, but I'm saying for a striker's point of view, you're giving the defender a chance to get back to you. If he pulls the trigger with a left foot, he asks a question to the goalkeeper, who's not having the best of afternoons.
I'm not sure of Steve Clark's whereabouts today. You wonder if he is at Stoke watching Angus Gunn, Jacob Brown, Kenny McLean, Grant Hanley, because
play each other.
Playing against you, because Liam Kelly will hope he hasn't seen any video of this game this afternoon, as you say. And now at 3 o'clock it's over to Xander Clark at Pittodrie.
Why don't we get some other team news? Whilst this one, it looks like it's going to peter out a bit. I can interrupt if we get anything to tell you about. What about Dundee United against St Mirren, the league's bottom team? They will be encouraged a bit, I guess, to see some other teams like Motherwell kind of near them, not getting 3 points today. Let's get teams from David Friel.
Yeah, I think they will be encouraged by what's going on at Fir Park, Gordon, but it's been a lot. This week's all about nostalgia for St Mirren and Jim Goodwin. Even the United manager, they weren't celebrating St Patrick's Day in Paisley yesterday. It was St Mirren's Day, the 10th anniversary of the 2013 League Cup win. As fate would have it, they faced Dundee United today, who are managed by, you guessed it, Jim Goodwin, who captained St Mirren to success against Hearts in that final. Jim was talking about the hefty hangover for a few days after that one, but only a clear head today, you would imagine, as you said. Bit of hope, I think. Dundee United are looking to put a bit of pressure on those above them. Didn't play last weekend. Jim's had a good 10 days of working in the training ground. I think he'll be looking for a reaction today. They don't have a good record against St Mirren. They've only won one of the last 8 meetings between the two teams, and have lost twice this season. But big team news, he's brought Ryan Edwards back in, dropped obviously for that Livingston game, but he's back in with no Charlie McGrew, and he also takes the captain's armband. Peter Pollitt and Liam Smith are also in for Kieran Freeman and Sadat Anaku. Looks like a sort of 3-4-3 formation for United. Mark Birighitti in goals, Loic Aina, Ryan Edwards and Scott McMahon at the back, Liam Smith, Ian Hartz, Craig Sibbleton, Aziz Behic in midfield with Jamie McGrath and Peter Pollitt either side of Stephen Fletcher. Subs for United are Newman, Graham, Niskanen, Doom, Freeman, Fotheringham, Cudjoe, Thompson and McLeod. As for St Mirren, Stephen Robinson's without suspended Charles Dunn. Tony Watt, obviously a United player, isn't able to face his parent club. Richard Taylor comes in at the back and Scott Tanser is also preferred
at left back to Terry Small. St Mirren have been busy in the last couple of days. New contracts for Trevor Carson and Mark O'Hara. They have also added Callan Boyd-Munce to their squad. He came from Middlesbrough, a free agent, highly rated. I think Stephen Robinson's looking to get his career back on track. He's on the bench today. St Mirren started the day in 6th, are looking to put some pressure on Hibs and Aberdeen above them. St Mirren will be the usual 3-5-2. Trevor Carson in goals, a back three of Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic and Richard Taylor, Ryan Strain, Keanu Bacchus, Mark O'Hara, Greg Kilty and Scott Tanzer in midfield, with Curtis Main and Alec Grieve up front. Subs for St Mirren are Minsky, Kenny, Shaughnessy, Small, Flynn, Fraser Taylor, Boyd Munce, Offord and Jameson. And the referee at Tannadice is Craig Napier, and the VAR is Colin Stephen.
Yes, looking forward to that one. 6 games on a Saturday, cannot beat it. Game 1 is almost done. I think the outcome is certainly done. Rangers, if anything, are looking to add a 5th. They're 4-2 up against Motherwell. Motherwell down to 10 men, so it's sort of ending the way you might expect it, with Rangers just pressing forward, and Motherwell, quite frankly, hoping for Nick Walsh to blow that full-time whistle. They're 89 minutes gone now. What a fantastic occasion it should be, and it's kind of tough to go and get team news from other games, because Rangers keep getting into the box and making me think that they're about to score a goal, and they may well do. Stood up at the back post and headed over by Tavernier. Let's get teams. Aberdeen against Hearts, Dave Galloway.
Well, it wasn't so many weeks ago, Gordon, that Aberdeen appeared to be in danger of possibly getting sucked into a relegation dogfight. How quickly things change in Scottish football, though, as they go into this game seeking a win that would narrow the gap on third place to 4 points. Last time these sides met in January, the Dons were thrashed 5-0 at Tynecastle to fall 9 points behind Hearts. But it's fair to say interim boss Barry Robson has steadied the ship, steering his team to 3 wins in 4 matches. Hearts, who looked all but certain to clinch third place not so long ago, pretty recently, they're regrouping as they seek to reassert themselves as best of the rest. A big crowd expected here, including a sellout away support, hoping to see the Jam Tarts bounce back from league and cup losses to Celtic. Aberdeen, firstly, then, they make 3 changes. Roos, Scales and Hayes are in for Horter, McKenzie and Duncan. So it's Roos in goals at the back, McCrory, McDonald, Pollock and Scales. Midfield, Ramadani, Clarkson and Shinnie, with Majowski leading the attack, supported by Hayes and Duke. The substitutes for the Dons today: Lewis, McKenzie, Barron, Markanday, Mislovic, Watkins, Coulson, Duncan and Richardson. 3 changes also for Hearts. In comes Shankland, Cochrane and Snodgrass. Out drop Grant, Halliday and Kingsley. So it's Clark in goals. Back 3, Hill, Sibic and Rolls. Midfield, Smith, Keogh, Halliday and Cochrane, with Shankland, Ginelli and Mackay up top. The subs is Stewart, Kingsley, Grant, Devlin, Halliday, Forrest, Nielsen, Humphreys and Cool. Your match referee today is David Dickinson, and on VAR duties, Don Robertson.
Cracker, should be an absolute cracker. The battle for third place really could take a significant turn one way or the other this afternoon in that game. 4 minutes added on at Fir Park, 90 seconds of that gone already. Still 4-2 to Rangers. What about Kelly St Johnstone teams with Fraser Wishart?
Yeah, you have to think, Gordon, that every home game between now and the end of the season is going to be absolutely vital for Kilmarnock if they're going to avoid relegation. We've talked a lot in recent weeks about their poor away record. At contrast, of course, their home record has been excellent here at Rugby Park. 22 of their 24 points have been here. And Denton McInnes was talking openly this week about a hero emerging, and if one does and scores a few goals between now and the end of the season, it'll be a fantastic achievement, I think, if Killie are to stay up. They've also got to get over that poor defeat away at Inverness Caley Thistle last week in the Cup quarter final. They're 1 up, of course. Could have been their second semi of the season. Good finances for the clubs. Semi against Falkirk, maybe a cup final. They've got to ignore that, because all that means now is that they've got 10 league games left to focus on. They'll find it hard against Johnson, who are kind of in a no man's land at the moment. They know a win will almost definitely see them safe. In fact, Callum Davison probably looking top 6, currently 6 behind St Mirren if they win this game. And a defeat and maybe a Dundee United win would have St Johnstone looking over their shoulder. So they're kind of in that no man's land, looking for just a couple of victories to just confirm their status as a Premiership club next season. I don't think, as most weeks, will be much between these two teams. It's heavy rain here, ball will skid off the pitch, so I expect a hard fought, perhaps even a low scoring match with only the odd goal in it. Team wise, 3 changes for Kilmarnock from that defeat against Inverness Caley Thistle. Taylor and Chambers dropped to the bench, Povers out completely. Jordan Jones, Joe Dorset and young 18-year-old David Watson makes his first league start after a sub-appearance at Ibrox a couple of weeks ago. Really attacking formation, 3-4-1-2 with Armstrong and Jones as the wing-backs. Sam Walker's in goals, Lewis Mayo, Jerry Dorset and Joe Wright at the back. Dan Armstrong, Liam Donnelly, Rory McKenzie, David Watson and Jordan Jones in midfield, with Kyle Vassell and Christian Doidge up front. Their substitutes: Zach Hemming, Ash Taylor, Ryan Albiose, Luke Chambers, Alan Power, Blair Alston, Kerr McInroy, Fraser Murray and Scott Robinson. Forrest St Johnstone, just a couple of changes from their last time out. Montgomery is injured, drops out, and McLennan drops to the bench. In come Bear and Constant, in their usual 3-4-1-2 formation as well. Remy Matthews in goals, Alex Mitchell, Liam Gordon, Andy Constantine at the back. Across the middle, Dre Wright, Melker Hallberg, Cammy McPherson and James Brown, with Graham Carey tucked in behind the two strikers, Theo Bear and Stevie May. Subs for St Johnstone: Ross Sinclair, Zach Rudden, David Witherspoon, Jamie Murphy, Conor McLennan, Cammy Ballantyne, Spencer Moreland, Tony Gallagher and Ryan McGowan. The referee here today is Chris Graham, and the man with the VAR responsibilities, Mike Ronconi.
Should be another cracker as well. Killie St Johnstone, lots to look forward to in the Premiership. Don't forget, we've also got Livy Ross County. Livy going for top 6 and maybe even beyond if the run of results goes their way, and Ross County would have the chance to cut Motherwell's gap on them to 3 points this afternoon, because Motherwell are about to lose at Fir Park as soon as Liam Kelly takes this goal kick, you have to imagine, and it's all over. Andrew McLean.
Motherwell 2, Rangers 4, the full-time score at Fir Park. An all-action tie, 6 goals, a red card, but most importantly 3 points heading back to Ibrox. It was a great start for Motherwell though. Max Johnson getting in behind Ridvan Yilmaz after about 3 minutes. His ball across the box was good, and Kevin Van Veen was there to tap in. Claims for offside in the build-up, but VAR proved otherwise, and the goal stood. Rangers after that were struggling to create much from open play, but they did get their equaliser from a free kick. It was Callum Slattery's challenge that gave James Tavernier the chance just outside the box. He curled it up over the wall and past Liam Kelly for the equaliser. Then a great start to the second half for Rangers. James Tavernier with a brilliant cross from the right that was headed in well by Fashion Sakala. It looked at that point as if they may go on to pull away. However, poor defending from them handed Motherwell an equaliser. Rangers didn't deal well with a corner into the box. Fingers could be pointed at James Tavernier and Antonio Cholak. It allowed Bevis Mugabe to stab in the equaliser for 2-2. But a quick response from Rangers. They broke up the left, got the ball into the box after 3 blocked or saved shots from different players. Todd Cantwell was the man to find the back of the net to put Rangers ahead again. Then Malik Tillman came off the bench and made it 4. The ball dropped to him at the edge of the box and he smashed it into the top corner. A really good finish for 4-2. Motherwell went down to 10 men after that. Callum Slattery with a second booking. His arm went up as he tried to fend off Todd Cantwell. It did look a bit harsh on first viewing, but loads of action in this game, and that's not even to mention the protests from both sets of supporters before the game. The full-time score though at Fir Park is Motherwell 2, Rangers 4.
How would you sum that up, Hugh Keevins?
I'd sum it up by saying it was belatedly a good day's work by Michael Beale. The obligation was always to get 3 points, reduce the gap between themselves and Celtic to 6, and see what happens at Celtic Park at 3 o'clock. He made the right changes and he got the right result. The first half was poor, second half was all you could ask for. Motherwell will feel hard done by the red card, reducing them to 10 men, and they fell apart altogether after that. But all you can ask of a team playing away from home, who are obliged to pursue Celtic, is that they score 4 goals, they survive pressure on them when it got to 2-2, and finish the match stronger than they started. They have done all that. So the card protesters, they now have to just acknowledge that the team on the park overcame the off-field distractions and overcame the on-field distraction that Motherwell presented. So it's a fair day's work for Rangers.
I think it's a performance and a result, Hugh, in keeping with everything you've seen in the Michael Beale era. Going forward, they can score goals. They could probably have scored more than the 4 they got this afternoon. But you do still wonder about them at the back. Kevin Van Veen troubled them at long spells. He gave them the lead. They didn't look clever at the equaliser, either in the concession of the corner or in the way they defended the corner when Bevis Mugabe scored the goal. And I think Michael Beale would admit he still has work to do with that squad defensively.
Big picture, Gordon, I think it's 8 away wins in a row for Rangers. So Michael Beale is doing that bit absolutely fine. There were clearly moments in the game that he would have preferred he didn't witness, but 4 goals away from home and an 8th successive away victory.
I think you can sum up that Michael Beale probably at half time asked for a bit more off his players, and they responded to that. I thought Rangers played very well in the second half. Yes, they lost what you would call, probably from their point of view, a very bad goal from a set play. But they responded. Then obviously when it goes down to 11v10, they're in total control of the game at 4-2 anyway. I thought Morelos, we give him a bit of, we're asking questions, what sort of a, situation, if he comes on, what kind of mood will he be in? Will he be in the grumpy? But I thought he looked sharp, I thought he looked lively, I thought he should have scored. He set up Tillman for a terrific goal. It was a good day's work for Rangers. Negative, I think the Rangers manager will highlight the disappointment in the goals that he lost.
Right, what a game. We've had a 6-goal thriller, losing count, wishful thinking. A 6-goal thriller at Fir Park, Rangers winning by 4-2. We had some VAR stoppages, a red card, and lots to get through, but we've also got some fantastic 3 o'clock games as well. So we will turn our attentions to them and continue to reflect on Fir Park next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Lucas Volvo. Don't miss the Volvo new car sale event between the 6th and the 20th of March, offering 0% APR and first 3 services for just $499. Book your place today. Follow the signs.